604 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, off and running. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing. Starting off your Friday morning at 26 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. We're stacked up for today, y'all. We're ready to roll. Going to talk a little bit about the interstate this morning, as there will be a big change to the way things look on 12 westbound. Going to be talking a little bit about library funds and moving them on over to the general fund. Going to be talking about the tourism industry in the state of Louisiana, and sticking with that topic, why don't we have a film hall of fame? Oh, yeah. Ready to roll here. So let's start off with top stories and trending.
Number 5.
Metro Council member Cleve Dunn's off the hook after being told to pay for damages to a neighbor's property. Judge Bo Higginbotham yesterday said he would not reimpose a $57,000 judgment after he found Dunn had infringed on a neighbor's property rights. Wants the state's attorney general's office to weigh in after higher courts took up the case. That next hearing's coming up on April 1st.
Number 4.
Louisiana Bond Commission yesterday approved District Attorney Hiller Moore's request to place a property tax proposal before East Baton Rouge Parish voters this year. Moore is seeking a $4 million 20-year tax that would boost funding for his agency, which is understaffed and really underwater when it comes to caseload.
Number 3.
Lawmakers got their first look at Governor Jeff Landry's plan for the state spending for next year at the Capitol yesterday. That'll be the starting point for debates during the legislative session. Experts described the budget as boring, but it's stable with little movement. Spending, including state and federal funds, is about $45 billion, about $1 billion less than last year.
Number 2.
President Donald Trump announced his appointments to the Council of Governors, one of whom being Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry. The Council of Governors is a bipartisan group designed to strengthen relationships between federal and state government.
Number 1.
Law enforcement in the capital area is prepping for several Mardi Gras parades, Mardi Gras celebrations this weekend in the capital area, with several more to come as Fat Tuesday approaches. In downtown Baton Rouge, Artemis is going to roll tonight. Mystique and Orion are tomorrow. What you got there, John?
Well, the Senate on Thursday narrowly voted to confirm Kash Patel as director of the FBI.
Yeah, saw that. And man, I gotta say, the reporting has been less than unbiased on this one.
Yeah.
It's all the confirmations are going to be a close vote. 51-49 is going to be a close vote, but all the confirmations are going to be a close vote. It isn't different with Patel,
right?
But that's part of what's been reported on Patel. Another part is a very selective soundbite that was like 4 words long or 5 words long, where he says, "We're going to come after the media."
Okay.
But like, there's a whole lot more to the sentence. I don't know the rest of the sentence because I wouldn't watch the hearings. Right. But when you work in the business, you hear, oh yeah, they chopped that. You don't have to work in the business when you can hear it when they're like, well, that was clearly mid sentence and he was saying something else there. But
been out of context.
Yeah. I'll see if I can find where they played it. In fact, American in the mornings are usually pretty even keeled.
Yeah.
Not to the right, not to the left. But in the 5 o'clock hour this morning, like right as the show was opening, when they're doing the tease for everything,
right?
We're going to come after the media.
We'll just leave it at that, right?
Let that sit there for a minute.
Yeah.
Okay.
In other news, Republican Senator Mitch McConnell announced on Thursday that he won't seek re-election next year.
Yeah.
Was it his birthday yesterday? Was it? I think it was. I think we called that his birthday.
It was this week. I don't know if it was yesterday or the day before, but no, yes, it was. It was yesterday because it was part of the story that he made the announcement on his birthday. Right. And Mitch McConnell, at the spry age of 117 is he now? He's just going to ride off. The thing of it, if you're Mitch McConnell's age and you ride off into the sunset, you had dinner 2 hours ago. That's.
Oh my goodness. In other news, entertainment news here, Amazon is taking control of the James Bond franchise, begging the question, who should be cast as the next James Bond?
I have no clue.
Right? I mean, there's some good potential. You never know how they're going to do. I say good candidates, but
yeah,
you never know.
Yeah, and I'm sure the debate will pop up everywhere about who was the best James Bond.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's a good question for Facebook.
Well, who was the best James Bond is the same question as who's the best Saturday Night Live cast.
You're right.
When
It's
you
all
were at
gonna
your
be-
peak
yeah,
James Bond viewing, that was your best James Bond.
That's right.
I'm not of the Sean Connery age.
I'm the Pierce Bronson age.
Okay. Yep.
Yep.
But I mean, we can all agree.
But Daniel
that,
Craig,
Daniel Craig
my
was
goodness,
amazing,
man. Yeah.
amazing, because he wasn't. I mean, he wasn't as crisp,
Yeah.
a little rough around the edges.
Yeah. Liked it. I like that side of James Bond.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff.
So who should be next? Who's the next James Bond? If you've got thoughts, post them up on our Facebook page. We are live on Facebook every single morning. We're coming up on our first break. Wow, we're moving this morning. Before we get to that break, got to remind you about the folks over at Vex European. Check them out online at vexeuropean.com, VEX, celebrating their 10th year. I'm going to need to be able to talk if I'm going to do the show today and get sentences out of my mouth. My apologies to Vinny and the team over at Vex European. See, they've got a standard of excellence far greater than this spot is giving them. Go to vexeuropean.com, hit the little drop-down tab. If you see your car's make a vehicle on there, they are here for you. And when I say they're here for you, they will have a master technician, an expert-level technician that can service your vehicle. Mercedes, BMW, Jaguar, Land Rover, if McLaren, if you drive an exotic, they've got you covered on that front as well. It starts at vexeuropean.com. We're going to go women's basketball first, then baseball. And you got 1.1 and 3.3? Okay.
The women's basketball, right?
Yeah.
1 point. Okay. Yeah, I got, and then 18 and 19. Nussmeyer, that's just something. That's not a clip, right?
No,
Okay.
that might roll over to 25.
Oh,
In
okay.
fact, it almost certainly will.
Oh, okay.
Oh. Just giving that vibe of like B-roll footage of a taxi cab in New York City driving down the street in an 80s night. Just keep it going. Smooth. It's good music. I'm not hating on it.
It's Dave Matthews Band, but
yeah, I mean,
it's just so funny because it gives that vibe of what talk radio is presumed to be, right? It's
right.
This, hey, welcome to Mornings with Brian Haldane.
Yeah, we're back in. Crisis in Ukraine. Why do we keep giving them money? It's that level of talk radio where like people want to talk global politics and yet can't balance their own checkbook. Keep it local, baby.
Yeah. Keep it local.
We'll be digging your calls all throughout the night. All right, let's get back in here. 6:15 talk one. It's gonna be a mood today, y'all. It's gonna be a mood. It's gonna be a vibe. It's solid Friday. This is what happens when the show leaves the studio for a day during the week. It throws everything off. All right, starting off with in our sports segment here. Actually, sports kind of be two segments because we got LSU basketball, women's basketball to talk about. We got men's basketball to preview, baseball to preview, and then we're going to get to the whole Doug Nussmeier being hired by the Saints thing for our next segment. Let's start off with LSU women. They were at home last night hosting the Georgia Lady Bulldogs. 97-63, your final score, and it wasn't in doubt ever. Tigers were up 20-12 after the first quarter. Georgia made up ground by a point in the second quarter, so LSU had a 7-point lead at halftime. Third quarter score 21-15, so your 7-point lead became 13, and then the Tigers win the fourth quarter as well, stretching things. They were up by 20 at a couple points during the game. Anissa Morrow did not play last night. Coach Kim Mulkey said post-game she could have if she would have been needed, but she got bumped around a little bit in the Texas game last weekend. So keeping her on the shelf when you have a lesser opponent, and at 2-10, now 2-11 in conference, Georgia was most certainly a lesser opponent. In Anissa's stead, you saw extended minutes for a couple of other players there. Jersey Wolfenbarger got 26 minutes last night and was second on the team in scoring with 16 points. In fact, right at the block, she showed she was going to make a difference.
Bounce pass Johnson, 14-footer in the lane, left it short. Smith again tipped it way out. Poa's got it. Will lob it left side Johnson. Another three, left wing. Yeah, it rolled the rim and wouldn't go.
Good rebound.
Wolfenbarger, put back is good.
Yep, and we talked about that. Who's going to step up and rebound? And a nice, not just a rebound, but a putback by Wolfenbarger.
10-6, left wing Turner for a three, back iron. Long rebound, Jahute, 14-footer. That's a brick. Wolfenbarger a rebound. Off the Poa into the front court. Williams to the left wing. Crossover dribble. Down the lane. Splits defenders. Bounce pass. Wolfenbarger. Layup is good.
How about it? Back-to-back baskets by Jersey Wolfenbarger. I know that's no longer than the normal clip there, but when you've got a player who does not normally average in double figures posting up 16 points, seeing them score on back-to-back possessions, that's a big plus moving forward because you're going to need more points when it comes time for the tournament. Flau'jae Johnson leading the team in scoring last night with 21. That's no surprise.
So anyway, 1 second to go. Gilbert will get it into Flau'jae, about a 35-footer. It's good! Couple steps inside half court. Flau'jae on the sideline, caught it, launched it, and buried it.
Yes, she did. She had 21 on the night. So you had Flau'jae with 21, Jersey Wolfenbarger with 16. Kaylin Gilbert had 15, and Samaya Smith had 11. That's how the double-figure scoring stacked up for LSU, who will next play at Kentucky on Sunday, 3 p.m. Kentucky's ranked number 14 in the nation. Only 3 more games to go on the regular season for Kim Mulkey's Tigers. It's number 14 Kentucky, and then at number 18 Alabama, and then home to close out the regular season versus Ole Miss. Moving from the women over to the men, LSU will be back at it again tomorrow. I believe, they're on the road tomorrow. The Tigers will be, son of a gun. My computer froze up. Don't make me do this off of memory. I don't want to do it off of memory. They're going to be, no, they're not on the road. They're hosting Florida. Florida is number 2 or 3 in the nation right now. Unbelievably good team when Florida coming into the Maravich Assembly Center. Here we go. Florida 10-3 in conference, 23-3 overall. It'll be a 5 p.m. tip-off over on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. My apologies to have to traipse through that computer glitch right there. So let's take a quick break. We'll check the Fox Business Report. I'll have traffic. We'll come back. We'll talk a little baseball. We will talk a little Saints football next. All right, let's go ahead and head on back to the Shawbills Tire Traffic Center, see what we got cooking on the interstates. I-12 westbound, light volume coming in from Denham Springs. Nothing you're not used to if that's your daily commute. It's after you get on at range, and then again as you approach Sherwood Forest, might tap the brakes just a little bit, not much. It clears back up all the way up to the 10-12 split. That won't be the case beyond today, though. We'll tell you about that coming up at 6:35. Over on I-10 westbound, coming in from Ascension Parish, things are clean and green. Moving over to the west side, coming in from Port Allen and points beyond, we're good there. Both bridges are looking good, and I-110 is looking good as well. Surface streets, 2 accidents to look out for from 20 minutes ago. Nope, not accident, stalled vehicle. Sorry. South Choctaw at Central Thruway. Got a stall being worked right there. And then over on South River Road at Coolidge, got another stall vehicle. So that's your look at traffic from the Shawbills Tire Traffic Center. .624 at Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. All right, sports spilled over into this segment, and not to worry, we've got time. 4-0 baseball Tigers are opening a 3-game set against Omaha at Alec Box Stadium. That starts today. Not your normal Friday night in Alec Box Stadium. 4 p.m. is your first pitch here. 4 p.m. first pitch. All right. Post up on Facebook Live. I understand what Jay Johnson's doing, moving games up from out of the evening time. I get that. And after the last 2 nights, I can definitely understand not wanting to be in the cold for that reason. And there is literally no reason to put your pitchers through that if it is going to remain cold. Like canceling or postponing the game against Nichols the other day. I get that. You don't want to be out in sub 32 degree temperatures when it comes to playing preseason baseball or non-conference baseball. But tonight, it's going to be upper 40s, mid 40s until basically the end of the game. That's chilly. It's cold. Yeah. But I mean, it's not detrimental to an arm. So, but 4 p.m. is going to be your first pitch. So I guess if you're looking to cut out early from work by a little bit and then head out to the box, awesome. You don't have to lose as much work as you would if it were a 2 p.m. start time. So 4-0 Tigers, 4 p.m. your start time tonight. Jay Johnson says, so far this team has been fun to watch.
I mean, it's been great that we've been able to get so many players in the game and get some of the newness of the season off of everybody. You know, we still have a couple guys that obviously we need to pitch, but, you know, everybody's kind of got their first taste of the season and, you know, it'll get harder and it'll get harder with this weekend. You know, it's got some talented players on this team.
Still got some guys that need to pitch. I love that. It's just because it feels like we've just seen new arm after new arm after new arm, and they've all been impressive. And they've all been super tall, and they all throw low to mid 90s with breaking stuff that looks like it's in slow motion. It's fantastic. Meanwhile, back to Jay Johnson. LSU, I mean, not just winning 4 games, but not really being challenged yet. Johnson says that has allowed him thus far to get a lot of guys some playing time, and what you're going to look for moving forward is, you know, a not fully set roster just yet. And a lot of guys are going to share playing time. And so far, the players have been rather open-minded and generous about that.
I don't like the word competition now because we're all on the same team, but guys know there's a lot of guys that can play. I mean, there's literally no drop-off. That's awesome. If that elevates everybody, awesome. Good for us. And it allows you, if there's adversity with injuries, okay, you know, like you move forward and feel pretty good about it. And so I do think that's been good.
So 4 p.m. this evening over on our sister station, Eagle 98.1. Since basketball tomorrow is at 5 while baseball is at 2, I believe tomorrow's game is going to be on 100.7 The Tiger, and then Sunday a 1 p.m. start time to round out the series. Coming up on, we're at 627 to Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Big news yesterday coming out of New Orleans as they have now hired Doug Nussmeier. Kellen Moore has brought Doug Nussmeier with him to be the offensive coordinator. Nussmeier is no stranger to New Orleans, having played there, and no stranger to us as Garrett Nussmeier is LSU's quarterback. Love the hire, love the move, love everything about it. When you watch Garrett Nussmeier at LSU, you could tell that he's the son of a coach, and you could tell what kind of coaching you're going to get from Doug Nussmeier, specifically on a quarterback level. Play calling is going to be all Kellen Moore, but when it narrows down like that, I really, really can't wait to see if the combination of Kellen Moore and Doug Nussmeier can have some level of effect on Derek Carr, because Derek Carr's always been that guy who's almost been the guy, just not quite. I know most Saints fans right now are looking ahead to the post-Derek Carr era, but sticking with the guy you got, sticking with the guy who's destroying your salary cap right now, if you can get something out of him for this upcoming season, then by all means. Now, a lot of the talk about Doug Nussmeier going to New Orleans has been surrounded about, wouldn't it be great if Doug and Garrett can go together, if father and son can be coach and player together? Here's the thing. You got a really slim window for that to happen. And the Saints having Doug Nussmeier has no bearing on the Saints acquiring Garrett Nussmeier. It's not like they're out recruiting him. It's the NFL. It's a draft. Garrett Nussmeier will go in the draft where Garrett Nussmeier goes. And I have a feeling a lot of LSU fans are going to be very, very disappointed if the Saints end up with the number 1 pick overall. Because as the mock draft boards have it right now, and I believe this will change through the course of the next college football season, but as the mock draft boards have it right now, Arch Manning is ranked higher than Garrett Nussmeier. So That sounds to be like might have another Manning of the Saints. We've got just about a minute until we hit news here at the bottom of the hour. I want to take this minute to thank everybody who has been struggling with us through our low power issues. We've been having a transmitter issue for a week now, and our chief engineer, Bo Wegman, has been unbelievable about not just working on it, but being out in front with us to let us know how things are going along. A lot of it is technical and way out of my pay grade, but I want to give a shout out to everyone who has sent a message into the station, everyone who's called me, left me a voicemail, and everybody who has reached out to say I can't hear you in the mornings. A lot of folks have moved over to the app, a couple over to Facebook Live, and some folks have just tried to tough it out. I want to reassure you this morning that we will be back up and in full power in short order. Just hang with us a little bit longer. A little bit longer is all I ask. Here we go. We got news. How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you turn a hostage over and it's not who you said it was? I mean, you gotta look up. Do they keep like an inventory here? What do you mean you lost her? Go find someone. They'll never know.
Anyway, yeah, they'll never know.
Cover her face up like it's supposed to be. How are they supposed to know what woman's behind?
That's messed up.
I got Hamas's back on this one.
That's messed up, dude.
That's not my grandma. How am I supposed to know?
Oh my gosh.
Debbie says Carr doesn't fit in NOLA. Carr doesn't fit in his own shoes. Debbie says, I listen on iHeart in the afternoon. Will this fix the gospel station that sometimes takes over the station? Yes. Once we're back up to full power, our signal pushes theirs out. You know what? I want that story too, damn it.
What, the one that just...
Yeah, at 8:15, we're going to talk executions, and we're going to... grab the hotline. That's Rodney.
Studio. Hello, yes, sir. Good morning. Yes, sir. Yeah, we'll have you up here in just a few short minutes. Appreciate it, Mr. Rodney. Thank you.
Sharpen my pencil.
Yes.
Pencil. No Foodie Friday today.
Boo. No, I saw that. I saw that. I was like, oh, shoot. It's all good, man. It's all good.
I'm still struggling to find a guest host for next Friday.
Man, I'm surprised people aren't like lining up for that.
I've asked 2 or 3 people, and they've all said no. I'm trying not to go to the same people every time.
Yeah.
There was a time where the topic was a little sketchy. I got in my car and gospel was on. Yeah, dude, that morning, yeah, the curmudgeon called.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes no one's gonna listen to you more than your hater.
Yep.
And I'm glad he did.
Guy listens for 3 hours every day. I mean,
Got
it's
to.
nice that he has zero life whatsoever.
I mean,
No, it's good to be lonely and a failure because then you can give us all your time.
yeah. It's like, man, I don't get it. I guess if I just don't.
And I'm not
get-
saying somebody that listens that long is a failure. I'm saying somebody who hates us and listens that long.
Yeah.
To dedicate that much of your life to something you despise.
Like they wake up to hear, I'm going to say both of our voices because he can't
Yeah.
stand me.
Oh,
but
I
then
know.
He's also said stuff about you. And I'm like, why are you listening? It's okay. Just change the channel.
Mhm.
Like, I'm sorry. I just don't spend. If I'm not interested, I just don't give myself the time of day. Who does, right? It's
No, I
like,
know. It's well, I got to learn very slowly with him because
Yeah.
from the day that I started the show, April 15th of 2019, he said, "This show won't last 3 months." And he was on the phone 3 months later saying, "This show won't last 6 months." And he was on the phone about 3 more months later saying, "There's no
So he's
way they're
been
going to
doing
re-up
this.
your contract."
He's been doing this.
Yes.
That's
From the day
insane.
I took over.
Oh man. And honestly, I try to be as dignified as I can. Thank you, sir, so much for listening. Whatever. I'm like, I don't
Oh, I don't care about
care.
that.
Like,
Yeah, you can politely hang up. That's fine, but
man.
I want to keep you from the nothing that you have to do. All right, here we go. Definitely another cold start to the morning, but we're heading in the warmer direction. Here's your full forecast from Balin Rogers. Patrick's the same about the folks that comment on the Advocate page on Facebook. It's a liberal rag, but they keep reading the articles. You know, okay, if we weren't in the year 2025, I would completely disagree with that because there was a time when that liberal rag was one of the few outlets that we had. But when you've got, what's that thing called? The internet, you've got options. Troy says, so those of us faithful watchers, listeners have no life. No, that's not what I said at all, Troy. In fact, you got to
No.
open up your ears, man.
Yeah.
What I said was, if you dedicate your life to something you hate, that's sad.
Yeah.
Now you think about me. 637 Talk. Nope, 638 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So normally my commute in to work takes me up Florida Boulevard to get downtown. This morning I said, you know what? Let me hop over on the interstate and see how things are looking. And my takeaway was it was dark and I couldn't see how things were looking. So we've got changes coming to the interstate. The College Drive flyover is about to actually fly over. Joining us now to talk about it from the Department of Transportation is Rodney Mett. Rodney, how are you, man?
Doing great. Very cold. Good morning to you.
Yeah, it is. It's another cold start to the morning. So I appreciate you hopping on board because this next step in the College Drive flyover process is a big one. Tell me all about it.
Well, right now, when you're coming in, you're going west, you're coming downtown on 12, 10 merges with 12, and 12 is on the college exit side of the merge. So the people on 10 have to weave across 12 to get the college exit.
Yes.
Well, we're changing that tomorrow morning. 12 is now going to go under the I-10 overpass and will be on the left side of 10. And people on 12 will merge with the folks on 10 to get off in college. And it's going to be like that for about 6 to 8 weeks, depending on weather.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do during this next phase after this move is construct the actual dedicated exit lanes to College Drive. So in 6 to 8 weeks, you're not going to have any weaving action at all. You're going to have a dedicated exit lane to College and a dedicated lane on 10 and 12 to go west.
Okay. So ultimately, if you're on 12 West when you merge with 10, you will eventually be, or after this weekend, you will be on the left-hand side of drivers on 10 West.
That's correct. You're going to be over there by the big Jersey barrier wall that separates 10 East and 10 West. And so it is going to be different, but the folks who feel like it's going to be too confusing, I think, aren't giving themselves enough credit. It's going to be, you're going to have an option to stay on 12 or an option to get off at College. And if you miss your College exit, there's other exits that you can get off at to get to your location.
Well, yeah, I mean, a very worst case scenario, if you stay in that right-hand lane, it'll guide you where you need to go, correct?
Well, on 12, if you come in right now.
Oh, on 12.
Yep. Yeah, not the final configuration, but right now, you are. It's going to be a change in your driving pattern because you are going to have to weave across 10 to get off at College, which the I-10 West traffic has been doing since the interstate was built. So it's just a little change in the personnel.
So for the next 6 to 8 weeks, for roughly the next just shy of 2 months, what we're looking at here is getting off at College if you're on 12 is basically the same process as getting off at College if you're on 10 since the beginning of time. I mean, it's you're flip-flopping it right now until you can get the lane built out.
That's exactly right. And it's not because we're trying to punish the people on 12 or anything like that. It's because we need to construct the dedicated exit lanes. But I'm going to tell you, Brian, change is difficult for people. And every time that we do any project at all, if there's any kind of change, there are people who are upset about it and can get confused. But once you get used to your driving pattern and you do it a couple of times, then drivers usually will try to find the path of least resistance, and everything gets back to normal.
Well, then we got Rodney Mett on with us from the Department of Transportation. As there's big changes coming to the 10-12 merge and College Drive with the College Drive flyover. And this was one that I don't really understand, Rodney, because this is one where you're talking about, 2 months worth of pain for a lifetime of having things much, much easier. Because if your commute is A, 12 westbound, and B, getting off at College, you're actually going to be getting off the interstate before it merges. I mean, it's a benefit to 10 for sure, but it's also a benefit for 12 because as you come westbound, if I'm not mistaken, that new off-ramp is going to be right after the big turnaround to loop over to I-10 eastbound.
That's exactly right. Yeah. And it's a benefit really for everyone because I drive it just about every day. And once you get to that 10-12 merge during the peak hours, you have people who are trying to get off at College or planning ahead to get off at Acadian, or people who want to go downtown or toward Lafayette, and you have people just weaving and merging everywhere, and people start hitting their brakes, and it just causes congestion and confusion. And we're going to take all of that out of the equation. And like you said, that's going to be in 2 months. It's going to be totally out of the equation. And I believe we will not have any complaints once we reach that final phase.
Oh, come on, Rodney. You have some. No.
Oh, I know. Believe me, there's some people who just aren't happy. And I heard you talking on the.
That was all off air. No. Yes, there's some folks that just wake up looking to be mad at things, for sure. Hey,
the internet warriors come out strong.
Yes. Oh, God, I can imagine. So, I got 2 more for you real quick before we get you out of here. And greatly, greatly appreciate your time this early in the morning. The first one is about the exit lanes itself. Once this is all constructed, and you're getting off 12 before the merge to get off at College Drive, what does that look like as far as the width of that off ramp? I mean, are we talking about like 2-3 exit lanes to get, like, once you're off the interstate? That's a whole lot of volume. So you got to have a whole lot of room for all the 10 and 12 people getting off.
We do. We have a whole lot of room on both sides. There's going to be a dedicated lane on 10 and a dedicated lane on 12. And once you make that decision to get off at college, you'll be getting off at college, and the changes at the actual college exit. Once you get off, right now, there's that little weaving action to get off and go right and get on corporate.
Yeah.
Well, corporate's going to have a dedicated lane. So
let's go.
So yeah, once you get off at college, right there, by that shopping center, you just stay in that lane and you can go to corporate.
Mm-hmm.
And then if you're going up college, like you're heading toward, Webb Park, you'll have a turn lane to get on corporate as well. So that's going to help traffic flow right there a lot. And so we are taking in consideration the volume and the congestion that comes off both of those, 10 and 12.
Yeah.
And we're trying to do what we can to mitigate that at the actual exit.
Yeah, at that point, the hard part's going to be convincing everybody that's going to corporate to keep it moving because they're not going to have to stop at all.
Hopefully, and I think I don't have the plans memorized, but I believe there's an actual curve there that if you make that decision that you're going in that lane to corporate, you are going in that lane to corporate.
Last one before we get you out of here, we got Rodney Mett from the Department of Transportation talk about this the College Drive flyover, the actual implementation time. When are we going to start to see like lane movement and blockages and more barrels moving in different directions here? Is that during the day today or is it tonight?
Well, they're preparing behind you didn't see it when you came in this morning because it was dark.
Right.
But right now where 12 is going to be, they are working on that right now, day and night. And so throughout the day, they'll continue to do that. And then during the evening, they're going to start moving everything and putting up the barrier walls where 12 is right now to get people over to the new configuration. And that is hopefully going to be open, supposedly scheduled for 5 o'clock in the morning. And I'll be driving it in the morning.
Well, good luck to you, Rodney. I always appreciate the updates. Always appreciate the time.
Always. Anytime you need anything, you know how to reach me.
Yes, I do. We'll talk to you soon, sir. Coming up on 647 to Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. All right, I think that was a lot less confusing than the last time I tried to sift my way through it. Well, because they're getting to the part now where it's visible. They're getting to the part now where you could see what the final outcome is going to be, and it is going to be glorious. Let's hope. All right, quick break. Coming back, we'll talk with Lake Urgent Care next. At some point today, I need you to update that Dawn Denicola. Yeah. And I'm gonna tell you this. I have notes on that interview every single week, and I'm gonna start handing off my notes to you because I think when you have typos on there, it's probably a result of my handwriting. So why wouldn't I give you the printed notes? It'll also allow you to write out like a little 2-paragraph thing because I've got all the questions written down. So yeah. Yeah, we'll just nip that shit in the bud.
Oh yeah. Because usually I'll write down like as you're speaking, I'll just write down like 3 topics that catch. But yeah, if I had like an outline, that would be very helpful. What day was that? Was that yesterday?
It was Monday. It was Medical Monday. Byron says, I know it's not the topic, but even though it's still tore up to hell, the new roundabout at Jubin in Florida is making a tremendous improvement in traffic. Well, that's freaking awesome to hear.
Oh, yeah.
Because that other roundabout out there had things jacked up.
Better.
Because people don't know how to use it.
Yeah.
So, look, I believe that Livingston Parish can be taught. It just takes a minute. That's all. Why are you stopping in the circle? Why are you stop? Don't stop in the circle.
They stop and they're like, go. And they're like,
no.
Oh, yeah. I've yielded for people that have been like, "No, it's like, are you serious?"
I'm to the point now where I want to get out of my vehicle and tell them, you
man.
don't stop in the mother-loving circle.
Oh man, that's terrible. Okay, updated.
Thank you.
No problem. Yeah. Oh man, yeah. Oh man, yeah. I was by Jubin last night, and it was so much smoother. Oh my gosh, dude. When people can drive it, it's just so much smoother. Lake Urgent, they calling?
They should be.
Okay.
Yes, he is an angry elf. And I don't know why I have this visual of like
Are we talking about the curmudgeon?
Yeah, we're talking about the curmudgeon. So gonna date myself with this reference. I don't know why I have a visual of Mel from Mel's Diner from Alice. Remember the show Alice? Stow it, Flo. Like
Studio.
White t-shirt,
Yes, sir.
coffee stain, but hasn't had coffee today. Like that's the guy I'm seeing.
Yes. I'm his producer. Yes, sir. We'll have you up here. About another 2 minutes or so. All right. Yes, sir. Just give us one moment. Thank you.
Is it Abbasi?
I was gonna ask you. What's this?
Hey, Doc. Hey, this is Brian. We got you up here in about a minute and a half. Pronounce your last name for me so I know I get it right. Abbasi. Nailed it. All right. Good deal. Coming your way just a second. By the way,
that ABBA
one B.
1B.
Yeah, I'm gonna hand you the notes for this one today. Lake Urgent Care sends copious notes as well, and you can sift through them. By the way, to our winners from our Jim Gaffigan Sebastian Maniscalco contest.
Oh yeah.
How was the show? 652 Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Time for us to check in with the folks over at Lake Urgent Care. Love this partnership. We get to talk every Friday. Different medical topics, and some of them cross the streams over to business. Joining us today is Dr. Abbasi, Medical Director of Occupational Health for Total Occupational Medicine and Lake Urgent Care. Dr. Abbasi oversees occupational health services that keep Greater Baton Rouge's workforce safe, healthy, and on the job. He's on the hotline right now. Dr. Abbasi, how are you this morning?
I'm good, Brian. How are you today?
I'm doing very well.
Yeah, with this cold weather we've been having.
Oh, I know. Here's the thing, though, Doc. If it's seasonably appropriate, I'm okay with it. Like mid-February, we can get one more cold snap before we start warming up, before we move the crawfish boil outside. Let's talk a little bit about the occupational health physicals. Just start with the importance of this and why it's needed to be offered.
The main thing with the occupational health physicals, what we do when we look at this is we have to examine who's going to be coming in to work for these various jobs. The workplace physicals help to ensure employees can safely perform their job duties, reducing any injuries that may occur, and liability risks. Many industries, including transportation, construction, and healthcare, require specific exams to meet legal and safety requirements that are imposed by either the state or the federal government. A strong occupational health program can lower an employer's work compensation claims and improve the overall workplace productivity and safety for their employees.
Which ultimately affects the bottom line. This is an ounce of prevention being worth a lot more than a pound of cure, right?
Absolutely.
There are different types of physicals, and I've found this part very, very intriguing because, like, the walk me through the different types of physicals and who they'd apply to.
Well, there are, I would say, really three different types of physicals. There's the general, or what we call non-DOT. Under that is a return to work exam or a fit for duty exam. And then there's the DOT exam. Now, when we talk about DOT, it's kind of the Department of Transportation. For these are the people who are driving the big rigs and trucks out on our highways. For those, there are required regulated things that you have to do on these exams. These exams include checking the vision, hearing, blood pressure, and overall health to ensure road safety and the safety of the drivers out there. Yeah. Now, our providers and clinicians at Total Occupational Medicine are certified to perform the DOT CDL physicals and stay updated with the federal motor carriers requirements. The non-DOT are used for employees in non-regulated industries, and they can be customized based on the job roles that the employer has and needs. Now, there are two other types. The return to work physical. Now, for those are a little bit different. The return to work specifically is a medical assessment that is conducted to determine if an employee who is fit to be able to return to work at full capacity to their job after an illness or injury or extended leave. Now, the return or the fit for duty are generally for new hires, and they help determine whether or not the employee can physically and medically perform his essential or her essential job tasks. And or if there's a question on the job for an employee who is at work and there is either mental or physical sort of condition that seems to impact them on that particular day, then they can be sent to us for a return to work fit for duty exam or fit for duty exam.
We're talking with Dr. Abbasi, the medical director of occupational health for Total Occupational Medicine and Lake Urgent Care. Doc, this might be like a Lake Urgent Care specific question. This might be an off-air question that someone might need to call in with, but how specific can the physical get to the job? Like if a company has their own specifications, can they lay that out for y'all before sending their potential employees your way?
Yes, they can. We are available to work with them, and we can help them adjust how their physicals are done. And this all depends on what type of work they do.
Yeah.
Some specialized physicals that we have seen and helped people with are the firefighter fitness exams. And for people who work in the industrial complex, the health screenings and hazmat physicals to meet industry or company-wide specific needs and requirements. So we're available to make adjustments and customize what they have.
Very good stuff. I got just one or two more as we're got less than 2 minutes to go here. From the business owner standpoint, I mean, scheduling is busy or your time is very limited. Scheduling can be a hassle. What does Lake Urgent Care offer to ease that pain?
We have a few things available. First, we have fast walk-in service. We partner with Lake Urgent Care and our Total Occupational Medicine platform. We have clinicians there who are able to adjust and work through any appointments to decrease the wait times and minimize downtime for the employees. We also have quick turnaround on the results. A lot of the physicals are completed in under an hour, depending on how busy the clinic is, with results returned and delivered to employers electronically. We also have multiple locations, up to 16 locations, so we make it easier for businesses to access us for quick and convenient occupational health services. We also have some on-site services available too. so we can go to the companies to help them out.
Oh, well, that adds a special level of convenience, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Of course, it all ties in with all the proper certifications and following like Ocean FM CSA guidelines. Where can folks go if they want to learn more? What's the website?
Let's see. Our website is totaloccupationalmedicine.com and Lake After Hours. And you'll probably have to also look at this. I didn't have that directly in front of me.
No sweat at all. No sweat at all. He is Dr. Abbasi. We appreciate a couple minutes this morning. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it, Brian.
Always.
Have a great day.
You too. Here comes news. I had to stay on script every time because I get into the conversation and I know it's sponsored content, but sponsored content does not have to be boring. It does not have to be an infomercial. And when he says shit that intrigues me, I want to follow up with shit that intrigues me. Because I think if it intrigues me, there's going to be a listener or two that might say, oh, that's pretty cool. Okay. Rather than crumpling up and throwing away.
Is that what you throw away every day?
Notes from interviews?
Yeah.
Once I'm done with it, I'm done with it.
Like, all right.
Bill Profita used to keep every piece of prep material he ever had.
And you're like, no, not gonna happen.
Bill Profita used to keep every piece of prep material he ever had. In case he had to go back to it, and I get it, it's thorough, it's professional, but I mean, he had stacks upon stacks of papers by his head. Like Bill had, guys, don't hate me. Bill had stacks of prep material taller than him, and that's not saying much.
Oh, that's messed up, man. Oh,
No,
man.
I learned a lot about show prep from Bill. He was more thorough than I'll ever be.
Yeah. But still, you know, there's a time, maybe after 2 or 3 weeks, maybe even a month, like, we can.
Oh, yeah.
It's just
I don't.
it out. It's okay.
Yeah, everything that we talked with Rodney about the college drive flyover, there's no reason for me to keep my notes on that.
No.
Because after tomorrow, it's all going to be different. And then 8 weeks from now, it's all going to be gone.
Yeah.
Patrick says the other guys were great. Jim seemed sick or something. Okay, so you had Sebastian Maniscalco, who I love Jim Gaffigan. Don't really care for Sebastian Maniscalco because he's more an actor than a comedian. And he doesn't really, he's not an actor in movies. He acts on, like, he's a stage actor.
Yeah.
He maximizes pacing back and forth. He hits his mark. He's got a lot of over-the-top gestures. It's not in the writing. It's in the delivery, which is all part of stand-up comedy.
Right.
But
it might not just be your style.
I would rather, like, Jim Gaffigan, set up, punch, punch. Who else was there? Were there any unknown comedians or lesser-known comedians, or was it just the two?
Some openers, right?
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Jim Gaffigan always sounds sick, though. He always sounds nasally.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe live it might be worse. I don't know. But yeah.
Well, he's been on a tear lately with not just this tour, but crossing it over with all the he did a bunch of stuff with like Trump receptions and stuff. Galen says, I missed Bill Sachs in the morning graffiti. How's he doing? Maybe a good guest for a future show. I don't talk to him as much as I should. We talk every once in a while. I mean, there's never gonna be a time where I don't love him like a brother. Olympic side effects. Anyway, I get a hold of him when we have something with the Baton Rouge Police Union. That's when it's newsy. I would love to do a whole getting the band back together show with like every host who's ever been on here. But I think there's still some hurt feelings out there. But like that would be like a reunion show where go back and get Matt Kennedy, go back and get Kevin Gallagher, Bill Profita, Clarence Boggs, Ducote.
It's pretty cool, man.
I don't know. Jay wasn't really a news talk guy. I saw Dakota last night. He's doing great. Ozempic. Oh, no, that wasn't a spell check. That was a nod to Rocco. Renee says Bill was rude to call-ins. When he needed to be. He was a bit harsher than... Well, and the flip side of that is Clarence was way too nice to everybody. A reunion show sounds awesome. I agree. We might be onto something there. 7:05, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Hour 2 coming your way right now. Brian here with you, John LaBeouf producing. What's on tap this hour? How about we talk about taking library dollars, excess library dollars, and opening them up to spending them on things that we need rather than things that we want. Metro Councilman Rowdy Gaudet going to join us at 7:15 to talk about that. Then what's the state of travel in Louisiana? We got a lot going on in the state right now. The Louisiana Travel Association just had a meeting. It was either late last week or earlier this week. They've got news on their front. We're going to talk with Chris Landry at 7:35. One of the bigger announcements that I'm on the fence here because I don't know if this is a big announcement to everybody. But the Louisiana Travel Association and the Louisiana Bed and Breakfast Association had just joined forces to where the bed and breakfast is folded into travel. So now it's all under one umbrella. They're going to have a bigger voice at the Capitol. They're going to have a bigger voice out public. It should be a good thing. All right. Is Rowdy downstairs? Okay. I tell you what, hit the intro for top stories and trending and I'll count myself down. How about that? Number 5. Metro Council member Cleve Dunn is off the hook after being told to pay for damages to a neighbor's property. Judge Bo Higginbotham on Thursday said he wouldn't reimpose a $57,000 judgment after he found Dunn had infringed on a neighbor's property rights. He wants the state's attorney general's office to weigh in after higher courts took up the case. The next hearing on this one is coming up on April 1st. Checking in on number 4. I'm not going to keep doing that. Number 4. Louisiana Bond Commission yesterday approved the District Attorney Hiller Moore's request to place a property tax proposal before East Baton Rouge Parish voters this year. Moore is seeking a $4 million 20-year tax that would boost funding for his agency, which is understaffed and overworked. Their caseload is still well behind where they need to be, and there's no real sign of being able to play catch up when, what's that new crime that keeps happening? Number 3. President Donald Trump announced his appointments to the Council of Governors, one of whom being Louisiana Governor Jeff Landry. The Council of Governors is a bipartisan group designed to strengthen relationships between the federal and the state governments.
Number 2.
Hey, John's back. Law enforcement in the capital area is prepping for several Mardi Gras celebrations this weekend in the capital area. Several more to come as Fat Tuesday approaches. In downtown Baton Rouge, Artemis will roll tonight. Mystique and Orion are tomorrow.
Number 1.
As of 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, and as of 25 minutes ago, you know what's happening at 5 a.m. tomorrow morning. Saturday, February 22nd, traffic on I-12 westbound will shift to allow drivers to pass under the newly constructed I-10 westbound overpass. So, in short, the College Drive flyover is actually going to fly over. What's trending, John?
Well, the Senate on Thursday narrowly voted to confirm Kash Patel as director of the FBI.
Yeah, yep. Not the most fair and balanced reporting on this one. No. By the way, his full name isn't Kash Patel.
What?
No, his full name is Trump loyalist Kash Patel.
Oh,
it's not just Cash. It's never going to be just
Patel.
It's Cash Money Records Patel.
Cash Money Records. Hey, Republican Senator Mitch McConnell announced on Thursday that he won't seek re-election next year.
Yeah.
So there's that.
And it's such a shock, too. At 147 years old, Mitch McConnell's in his prime right now.
Look, guys,
He made his announcement. He made his announcement while eating carrot souffle at Piccadilly at 2:00 in the afternoon. It was a birthday
Was that
celebration.
before his nap?
It was before his nap.
Oh,
Well before he was sucking on a Werther's watching Matlock.
oh man. Hey, in other news, Amazon
And
is
not
taking...
that new piece of garbage Matlock with Kathy Bates. Old school Matlock.
Oh, the old. Oh, okay.
Old school
Okay.
Matlock.
Got it. It's got to be. It's got to be. Hey, Amazon is taking control of the James Bond franchise, begging the question: who should be cast as the next James Bond?
Mitch McConnell's gonna
He's
ride
still
off
there.
into the sunset
He's still there.
on a scooter from the scooter store. Del Boca Vista, baby.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, I'm sorry. What was the last one?
I don't even know anymore. What am I doing here? What is going on?
He's 147 years old. That man has looked like a turtle since before I was born.
And notably, right? It was on his birthday where he announces this.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yes,
on
he
his
made the announcement.
147th birthday,
147th birthday,
He
Mitch
said-
McConnell said, "You know what? Maybe my best days are behind me.
maybe.
If you give me
Maybe.
an hour or two, I'll be able to turn around and see."
Oh my goodness! Did you hear what I said about James Bond?
No.
Amazon is taking control of the James Bond franchise, begging the question: who should be cast as the next James Bond?
So that's what Mitch McConnell's going to do.
That's what he's doing. He's
Because
yeah.
007 is actually his social security number.
How long have you?
Good night.
That
I'm
was
done.
it. Okay.
It's not getting better than that.
Thanks for joining the show, everyone. Thanks for listening.
I'm good.
We're out.
Oh my goodness.
How really?
That was in
No.
the moment. That was in the
Instantaneous.
moment. I did not write that
Oh.
ahead of time. You can go through every note
That's
I
so
have.
good.
That was in the moment.
So good. Oh my goodness.
007's his social security number. We got a break.
I guess so. Look, hit
we
us
got
up
a
on
Metro
Facebook.
councilman that has to talk real business here in a
Right.
minute. So,
Here we are
the
playing
foolishness
around.
needs to go away. All right. Before we take our break, though, got to remind you about the folks at Mulhearn. Ooh, hey, big news coming. Kenilworth at Highland. This is the OG Mulhearns. It was called Kenilworth Supermarket back in the day before it's taken over by Robert. Well, guess what, folks? The people you love and the prices you miss are coming back to the Highland Road area. Highland at Kenilworth is about to be in Mulhearns' hands again. You remember them if you live out there. Of course, if you shop at the Nicholson Drive location, you already know what I'm talking about. If you work, live, or shop downtown, you already know what I'm talking about because those are your two other Mulhearns locations. Well, it's back to the OG spot where it all began. Actually, it began downriver a little bit, but for Baton Rouge, where it all began. Now, if you're in that area, I'm going to let you know right now. Download the Mulhearns Rewards app. Get ahead of the game on this one. You earn cash towards more groceries every time you shop. The weekly specials are on there before you shop. The insert that you see in the paper, yeah, all that's available to you on the app. So, Kenilworth area, download the Mulhearns app now.
I'm almost envious I didn't have the 007.
You need to save that clip.
The 007
You need to
social.
save that clip.
That
That was a good joke. I don't normally brag on my own lines, but that was a good joke.
Man.
I'm golden, man. You still vertical after this the lobby annual meeting, and I always saw you like halfway across the room. I never got a chance to say hello, but you were always on the move. Do we need to kill the mics? Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I did hear that. Yep.
Left Newark, New Jersey. So we were up till midnight plotting a plan B. Were we going to Zoom him? Were we going to call Brian Haldane and say, can you come on stage in front of 1,000 people in 6 hours? We were like, what are we going to do if this guy can't show up and these people have paid money to come see a national speaker? So it was quite an event. So yesterday was a catch-up day. Yesterday was a catch-up day. So yeah, so all right. I always fail with this thing.
Yeah.
We good here?
Yes. He was great, by the way.
Oh, good. I'm glad to hear
Walking
it.
through American history with pairing with tariffs. Who would think now, granted, if we're being completely honest, the overall American economy involves a lot more than just tariffs. The Roaring '20s was the back end of World War II, not the tariffs. But it is important to note that nothing collapses.
Yeah. There was good parallels. There was
Right.
good parallels between the two, and point was well received.
Yeah.
So, yes. And for not going to sleep until 4 a.m., he did quite well. So I would not have been as
Both on and off script.
Yeah,
Like,
that's right. That's
he
right.
got off script a good
That's
little
correct.
bit,
That's correct.
which I love. All right. Shoot, I was supposed to pull up this article already. $7:15, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hey, Talk 107.3 and Citizens Bank and Trust want to help cover your car payments. It's a $5,000 grand prize we're offering to cover those car payments. There's also a bonus chance to win free car washes from Benny's Car Wash for 6 months to keep that paid car clean. We're also letting you earn extra entries by subscribing on our Talk 107.3 Baton Rouge YouTube channel. Just go over there and subscribe, or to sign up for the contest, visit talk1073.com. So all the talk right now is what to do with excess library funds and how you go about doing it to stay within the parameters of, law. Here joining us now to talk about this, Metro Councilman Rowdy Gaudet. How are you, man?
I am doing very well, Brian. Thanks for having me. How are you?
Glad to have you on here. Glad to have this discussion as many times as I possibly can. I want to hear from every angle possible because this is a big deal.
Yeah,
it's
right.
a big deal on many fronts. It's a big deal because we need the money without going back into taxpayers' pockets again. I mean, we learned yesterday we're probably going to have to go back into our pockets to help fund our district attorney's office.
Right.
It's also a big deal because we have gorgeous and wonderful libraries and want to protect them. And this really might be kind of a lesson on how we've done things in the past versus the way they might need to be done in the future.
I think you've captured it perfectly. So what I've been telling folks is, look, this is the most important conversation we've had as a community in several years since Move EBR. In fact, the parish-wide tax for road improvements and infrastructure. This is the most important conversation we've had, and kudos to the mayor for generating this discussion. Right? He put out a plan. His plan begs the question: what do we prioritize in East Baton Rouge Parish? Now, here's what else I've been telling folks when I talk to them about this issue. 30 years ago, this community prioritized our libraries, and by that I mean it's where we put our tax dollars.
Yes,
we put millages towards libraries. 20 years ago, this community prioritized our park system,
and again last fall.
And we renewed last fall. We have made that decision to prioritize those assets with our tax dollars. And lo and behold, we have one of the top library systems in the country, and we have the gold medal winning park system in the country.
Correct.
What we have prioritized in this community are shining stars. They're true assets in our community. Mayor Edwards and his administration come in and they look around and say, we've got really nice assets over there. We have some needs over here that haven't been addressed. 20 years ago, this community did not prioritize infrastructure, did not prioritize public safety. And so this mayor's coming in, and again, I'm presenting his compelling case because I believe he's making a compelling case and saying we have needs in public safety, we have needs in infrastructure, and he's given a budget where they say of this $1 billion budget for the city parish, 70% of it you cannot touch. It is constitutionally dedicated. It is statutorily dedicated. You do not have access to it.
Right.
Right. So you have about $300 million that is general fund, and that pays for your current police, DPW, all the equipment you need, all the personnel you need to run the operations. There ain't much flexibility. And as a council member, every year we have that same discussion. Remember, 70% of this is off the table.
Right.
You can't touch it. You can't use it. It's been dedicated. So we have that same frustration every year. How do we meet the needs when homeowners associations have me stand in front of them and say, what are you doing about our drainage? And my response is, I hope the federal government gives us money. So the question is, do we reprioritize in this community? And again, credit to the mayor. He has put that conversation out there.
Mhm.
I think it's the most important conversation we've had in a long time.
Well, and being fair to everyone who's been along the way here. Okay, being fair to everybody. 20 years ago, when we voted for these things, we didn't have the flood of 2016 to be an eye opener for folks who had never flooded before. It wasn't a problem until it was a problem. 20 years ago, our homicide rate was not where it is now either.
Right.
So we could have all the, and I'm not making light of, we could have all the happy fun time of Kip Holden, that to be America's next great city, we got to have all these little trinkets and things, with, you can have all the sizzle without the
Yes.
steak.
Yes. And that's why I say, if we don't do something now
Mhm.
to prioritize those needs that we have,
Right.
not the wants, the needs. And listen to me, I do not mean that we should defund the library.
No,
Don't hear me as
we'll
saying
get to that part in a second.
Don't hear
Yeah.
me as saying that. What I'm saying is, let's have a critical and thorough conversation about, we have needs that we cannot fund as we fully should. How do we achieve that while also maintaining the assets that we have? Because we truly have community assets in our libraries, our parks, and other things.
And by the way, speaking of the parks and the other things
Yeah.
as well, I didn't think about it until just now, but kudos to Breck, because we had to re-up with Breck. Like, as our needs and wants changed over the time,
Yes,
it wasn't a set thing that in perpetuity. Breck said, let's go back in front of the people
that is
again
correct.
and put our best face forward and our best our sales pitch out there.
That's right.
So there's something to be said for, they put themselves on the chopping block to say, okay, y'all have to give us a thumbs up again, which I tend to respect that.
Which the library is also attempting to do. That's what came before the
Right.
Metro Council 2 weeks ago, was their effort to say, hey, listen, we were approved originally for 11.1 mills. We
Mhm.
want to come in, I think I'm correct, 10.2.
Yeah.
I have a lot of numbers floating around. We want to come in at 10.2, and we can responsibly manage that. Now, you had, again, a new mayoral administration came in and said, actually, we want to take a fresh look at things. We have a different idea. So that's what's generated this very thorough discussion. You have a lot of passionate people on both sides. But when we discussed as a Metro Council a couple of Wednesdays ago the issue on the library's renewal, that's the crowd that showed up and voiced their support for the library.
Okay. How far down the path are we to know how much the library actually needs? How much is budget surplus versus future operating expense? I hate that term, future operating expenses. It's next. You're going to get paid again. Like it. But how do we know an exact dollar amount yet?
That's the discussion to be had.
Okay.
And I would say it starts with, how do we want our libraries to function and operate? So there's been a lot of discussion about how we fund our libraries versus what other cities do. Dallas, I think Wichita was thrown out there. So, but compare apples to apples.
Okay.
Dallas doesn't offer job assistance as part of their library program. East Baton Rouge does. Do we want that as an offering in our libraries? Let's have that conversation. Wichita is not open 7 days a week. They're not open on weekends. Our libraries are here in East Baton Rouge Parish. Do we want or need that, a 7-day operating library? Let's have those conversations. I think once we discuss those, and I would say this is Rowdy Gaudet's opinion, is there an opportunity to do things differently from a budgeting perspective at the library?
Mm-hmm.
Could we have the Guarantee Media Kids Room at the Bluebonnet Regional Library? Could we have the Exxon Mobil Teen Area at the downtown main library? Could we look at those public-private partnerships?
Yeah.
I think all of that is on the table. Let's land on, where do we keep these community assets in our libraries? And then do we have some money that could go towards these needs that are identified, and rewarding some of our public safety officers and putting dollars that aren't praying for federal money to fall down from the sky towards our infrastructure needs to better our community?
And we probably need to take a serious look at those things like job assistance and hours wise. Look, there's no reason to not have the library open on the weekends. That's when the kids are out of school. Like you want the library open on the weekends. You hope that the kids are going to a library and not somewhere else, for sure, for certain. But when it comes to the number of other the buffet of things that they offer, are there other city parish entities that offer the same thing? Is there duplication? Are there redundancies?
And I spoke with a group last night and was asked the question, how many more physical locations do we need? Look, it's all good questions.
Yeah.
But you have those discussions by bringing folks to the table as a partnership and have that conversation. And what I've been saying is let's broaden the conversation. The library's tax happens to be up for renewal right now. All right. So this issue has cropped up because the library had put an item on the agenda under the previous administration. That item was placed on a council agenda. So it's the discussion right now. There's some other priorities, meaning millage tax dollars out there that we also should look at and say, where are you with your budgeting? Where are you with your planning for the coming years? And is there an opportunity to say, can we piece some off of this and put it towards some other needs in the community?
Give me some examples there, because I think it's important that the library not be the only ones under the microscope.
Yeah, well, under the auspice of the local government, you've got Council on Aging, you've got mosquito abatement, and you've got the library. Those are kind of the big three.
Mhm.
BREC is legislatively created. I know you've had a couple other guests talk about this, but legislatively created. So BREC does not approach the council to say, will you help us renew this tax? They have a board that does that for them.
Right.
And recently rolled forward a tax renewal,
But
I believe
CAT's
last year. CAT's also legislatively created. So those two would take some other efforts at the state capitol if we're going to have a similar conversation about them. So that's a long conversation, right? That was not doing that and bringing all those partners to the table and saying we've got to have this cohesive agreement takes a lot of effort. The administration wants a big win. The administration wants to come in and say, look, we're solving problems. That's what he was elected to do.
Yes.
He didn't get elected to come in and manage the day-to-day and be status quo. He got elected to say, change things, and public safety is, you better believe, is what he heard on the campaign trail is the number one issue.
Yep.
So again, credit to him for coming in and saying, we're starting this conversation, because he has a mandate. The same thing in 2017 when Sharon Broom came in, there was a mandate to fix traffic.
Yeah.
And she came forward and said, I want to raise taxes because we need to fund infrastructure. And the community agreed.
Yes.
Community agreed with her. So this is how these conversations get started. You go through some bumps. I'm going to preview. I've got a public meeting next Tuesday.
Yep.
Tuesday the 25th in Council District 3. I've partnered with Dwight Hudson from Council District 9. We're going to host a public meeting. The mayor's office is going to present their plan. This public meeting is not, I'm putting the library on one side, the mayor's office on one side. It's not, I want libraries versus police. There's an item coming on March 12th. It's the mayor president's item. His office is coming present on the merits of their proposal, and we'll have a good discussion about it.
You mentioned Dallas and a couple of other cities earlier. Mason Batts from the mayor's office was in last week. And when he dropped that number that we're operating at, 62 million, Dallas at 45, Nashville at 38. Amenities aside and buffet of services aside, that is a stark contrast.
But I think it's important to look at what is the community receiving from those. So I do think, amenities and what's offered. Look, I think it's a powerful statement when you can say, look, we offer job reentry programs through that library, because in my professional life, on the work side, when we're talking about how do we meet the workforce needs of this state and bring in over 100,000 more people into the workforce, reentry programs is a huge component of that.
Yes, it is.
And so if the library is offering those services and those other communities are not, well, maybe we're getting a return on that investment.
ROI is going to have to be a very serious part of this. No, a
100%.
very serious part of this discussion as well, because when you look at the number, look, libraries are no longer dusty old books and dusty old volunteers. They are meeting places. They are community hubs. And if you want to have a separate argument that they shouldn't be, well, then the whole pitch behind them in the first place was this is part of the city we want to live in.
That's right.
Goodwood's my home base.
Yep.
And it's glorious.
And it is. That's right.
And I'm there at a minimum every month, probably more often than that. But it when you see how vibrant it is and that it's working at the way it should be, you definitely stand in and say, okay, yes, let's protect it. Protect it. But once you start to get in the numbers, that's where things, that's where things get thick.
I gave credit to the mayor for starting the conversation. I'll give credit to the library. I think they have responsibly managed their budget. They came before the council last week. One of their slides said they are the Dave Ramsey of local government entities, because they don't go and bond out their facilities. They pay as you go, and the dollars that are in that reserve account are intended for future building needs. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, but they also had a briefcase full of money like Harry and Lloyd
No,
and Dumb and Dumber.
no.
See, this one's a Lamborghini. Hang on to that one.
Well, no, I will not endorse that statement, Brian Haldane. I will not. I will distance myself from that remark.
As you should.
No, I think what's in that reserve account, they can speak to. Now, the question is, okay, if you're generating $65 million a year from the millage and you've got that in the account, can we talk about what you prioritize going forward? And that, for me, is the conversation. Again, I think as a community, we falter if we say it's you versus them, it's police versus library, it's 1 versus 2.
Yeah.
I think we have to say, no. We're having a discussion about priorities in this community, and we have some true needs. Again, when people ask me what you doing about drainage and traffic, my answer is I'm hoping for more dollars from the federal government. ARPA bridged, American Rescue Plan dollars bridged us for several years. We're at the end of that.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. And we need before all those library books float away in a flood, we need to do something.
That's right. We've had the advent, real quick before we go, we've had the advent of St. George. That's created some additional budget pressures on the parish. So we've got to look critically at this, and I think this is a worthy discussion.
He is Rowdy Gaudet from the Metro Council. That meeting's coming up Tuesday night?
The public meeting Councilmember Hudson and I are doing is Tuesday the 25th, 5:30 to 7:30 at Acacia Church on Segan Lane.
Appreciate your time, as always, sir. We skipped right past ABC News. Not a problem there. Let's go ahead and check our local news, traffic, and weather. We're talking travel next. Sorry, I couldn't help myself on that Harry and Lloyd reference. But it's okay. And we're still on Facebook Live, so I don't want to hot mic you on anything with this. But here's when the library said we don't have money, and then they said we got a little money, and they said we're going to work with you, but to a point. If we find that point where they're going to work with the city and we move that number down, I want to know whether this is just, I don't know if this is vengeful or what,
right.
But if we find that number where they can operate successfully and still be the best libraries around, I want to know why the question isn't asked, well, why didn't you speak up before? Like, why was the number before so much? Why did you want to hold on? So, like, you had no room before, and you got a little room, and you got a little more room. It's like, okay, now go back to. I don't know if that's vengeful or if that's a fair question.
Half of me wanted to today kind of compare it to the personal budget. I mean, look, my homeowner's insurance went up $200 per month. So that means my mortgage went up $200 per month. That's a hard conversation with my wife because that's not, we'll just get rid of the $7.99 Disney Plus. We got to make some significant rearrangements.
Yes.
I think the library is willing to do that. Look, we had plans for all of this. We can rearrange those plans and do this now. I think that's what they're willing to come to the table and say. Their sticking point is don't put them in the general fund. And I think the public is backing this up. Put a set millage dedicated to the library. Whatever's on the top of that, put towards your general fund needs. So I think they're coming to the table saying that set millage has to be a part of this formula. That's a deal breaker for them.
Yeah.
I didn't get into this, but the mayor's plan includes $1 million for council districts. That's a deal breaker for me. I'm not doing it. $1 million to each council district. I won't get on board with it. Won't get on board.
Why not?
With it. Number one, it looks like he's buying my vote and 11 other council members. Oh, I get $1 million.
That's a good answer. Yeah.
Pretty attractive. Thumbs up to you. Won't give that impression. Number two, people come on your program and talk about how we're just part-time. We're part-time council members. Well, then how am I going to manage $1 million budget to run programs, to operate more people? Unless we're
okay. Yeah. No. See, all right.
I've got one assistant in my office. I don't have a community center in my district. Some do. But if you're going to talk about people running now their own blight programs, hiring their own personnel, that's not a part-time role.
Job.
That is a full-time job.
Rowdy, you're already a full-time job. you know that. I talk to y'all often enough to know that there's no time where you're not a council person.
Yes. But if now my efforts are focused on running those programs, we've already got some folks who were like, oh, I didn't even read the agenda today.
Yeah.
Before this meeting. So anyway, now a hot mic moment. Good. Okay. Well, thank you.
No, absolutely.
You've had all the right folks on. I heard Mason on. Who did I miss yesterday?
Didn't have anybody on.
Okay. All right. All right.
I had Charlie Davis on.
Yes.
Ooh, I was hanging out with him last night. The mayor hasn't come on yet, and honestly, I don't want him to.
Okay.
Well, because I want the people who are inside the numbers. Mayor's the top dog on this one. I want the grunt workers. I have not had the library on yet.
Okay.
And I need to.
Okay. I didn't know if they were.
No. There we'll get that'll probably happen next week.
Okay.
But I don't want to be mean.
Okay.
And when I hear phrases like, we have to talk about the revenue we generate. No, late fees are the revenue you generate. Taxes you take from us. And I don't want the conversation to go down a sideways path. I want to be fair to them.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, but have them on.
God, yes. Yeah.
Mary will be happy to do it, I'm sure. So.
Yeah, totally need to. So.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Sorry I made you miss ABC News.
No. Dude, I'm below Lopez. Contractually, we don't even carry the bottom because they don't have a spot attached to it. So.
Well, thanks for doing annual meeting. It really is great.
What's next year's date? Because I want it on my calendar.
Yeah.
Now.
Thank you. And I'm speaking a little biasly, but it's such a great event. I mean, the networking that's built in. If you're not
like Washington Mardi Gras, if you're not in the room, you don't get
that's it.
On.
That's it. That's right.
And the number of people I've talked to who said, because you come fresh off Washington Mardi Gras,
that's right,
and you get an annual meeting, and you see that meeting, you get the registration over here, and the breakout over here, and the panel discussion here, and the keynote here, that hallway in the middle. That's the mortar between the bricks.
100% right. Yes. Although we might have to look at going somewhere else next year.
Full on River Center. Full on River Center.
It's continuing to grow, and that's the only place we could go. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
I would hate to see Crown Plaza lose it because they do such a good job.
I know. They took care of it. Did you see?
Although the chicken sucks.
The guy passed out at the end.
I did.
Oh, man. Thankfully, he's okay.
Yeah, he was up and talking, and I was like, "Oh God, Will, what do you do?"
He didn't know, so the lights were on, and he thought somebody knocked over the water bottle on the table, and so
but that woman screeched.
Well, at that point, he went, "Oh, this is more than just they spilled on the table."
Yeah,
and he's on the stage like, "I got one more paragraph, and we'll end this thing," but you obviously have to pause at that point.
But at the same time, though, did you want everybody to disperse and be in the way of EMS getting there? It's like, okay, everybody stay where you are, and let's clear a path. But the flip side of that was there's an exit on the other side. I don't know why they came in the middle.
All right. Okay. I'm getting lots of text now. So.
Sorry. All good. .737 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along, and we are moving fast this morning. Moving from city parish business to broaden things out over the state and talking travel. Welcoming in the head of LTA, Chris Landry's on the hotline. How are you, man?
I'm good. How are you, buddy? Thank you so much for having me this morning.
No, glad to have you on. You got a lot to talk about. Before we get to y'all's last meeting and the news on that front, I just want a kind of a state of the union from you there post Super Bowl.
I mean, what a time. I know Walt and Mark Romick and their team at New Orleans and company. I was so glad to talk to them after, along with the Lieutenant Governor, for them to finally be able to take a breath when that thing was done. I think everybody was in awe. And the best part of it was you didn't hear anybody say anything bad the entire time. Throughout that week and the time after, it was so awesome to see all the positive publicity Louisiana got and their team got, and it was I think everyone had a huge smile on their face when that thing was done.
Spinning that into more business, how are we working that equation?
I think that anytime you have people speaking well about Louisiana, I think that always equates into such positivity and it gives us something to build on, right? Anytime you're the hot name, everybody wants to be a part of it. And so from economic development standpoint, everything that they did while they were down there, I just think that the positive momentum, especially leading into Mardi Gras, those small businesses down there can keep kind of cashing in on what's hot.
I know there's not a way to get a one-to-one takeaway on this one, but having a late Mardi Gras has to be a benefit after coming off the Super Bowl because people still had time to make travel plans.
Absolutely. And I think that you see Mardi Gras, even though, and I think we talked about this last time I was on, even though Mardi Gras for New Orleans, really, people think of Fat Tuesday, around the state, I feel like it keeps starting earlier and earlier. I mean, you've got people who have their big parades, 1 week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks before Mardi Gras even really, comes around. And it's so much fun to watch everyone have their moment.
We're talking with Chris Landry from the Louisiana Travel Association. All right, y'all are coming off a big meeting where an announcement was made. Chris, since I worked in hotels before working in radio, I don't know if this is too inside baseball or not, but I find it intriguing. LTA and LBBA are teaming up. What does this mean for folks?
I think that, so many people, a lot of times our bed and breakfasts can get overlooked, especially with the growth of Airbnb. But I mean, in our state, we've got over 120 bed and breakfasts, and they've got, for the last couple of years, they've had their own association. So we're going to kind of team up with them, bring them under our umbrella, really kind of expose our bed and breakfast owners to a lot of small business resources, a lot of hospitality resources. And it's just something that we identified, a need in a place we could help. And I really wanted to do that.
I mean, when you think bed and breakfast, I don't, when I think Louisiana hospitality, I don't know why I instantly think hotels. But we do have a bed and breakfast scene around here. So I feel like there is room for y'all to step up, if nothing else, their marketing game.
Absolutely. And just really kind of shed a light on how many we have. When you think places like Natchitoches, I mean, Baton Rouge, you certainly have your fair share. New Orleans, has the most when it comes to per square mile there. And I'm really excited to learn more about them. I'm going to be going over to the Miss Janice's place, the Stockade there on Highland Road, and trying to work a couple of shifts just so I can personally learn more about where their pain points are, and really that side of the business. Much like you, I cut my teeth on the hotel side, so I'm excited to learn a little bit more about which makes those places special.
Well, yeah, you look at where the Stockade's at, and you have visibility, both literal and figurative visibility there. Is probably one of their bigger pain points, probably one of their biggest struggles along the way. And Natchitoches is a great example, because if I think Natchitoches, I am thinking B&B, because they don't have they don't have a whole lot. Well, they got a few hotels, but it's not the big name hotels in the heart of Natchitoches. You get closer to the interstate and you see them fill up out there. So Natchitoches plays by a different set of rules here. It's the Baton Rouges of the state that I think are going to need the help.
You're exactly right. And I mean, thinking in Tangy along I-55, there's a little corridor there. Same thing over in St. Martinville. St. Martin Parish, there's a lot of bed and breakfasts along the bayou that really kind of cater to those authentic, like, Cajun experiences. So I'm excited to be able to get in and learn more about that side of the business.
What else came out of the last meeting? Any other big headlines?
So our there's very, very little business that goes on at our annual meeting. It's a very short meeting, but really the meat of it is our annual Louis Awards, right? So we give out about 15 awards. Okay. Several different categories around the state. I was really excited to be able to give Jill Kidder and her team there at Visit Baton Rouge. They won the marketing campaign of the year for their Baton Rouge with a capital. We had Avoyles Parish win the small CVB of the year. Visit Monroe, West Monroe won our large CVB of the year. We were able to give a Lifetime Achievement Award to our buddy Mark Romig. We were able to give a Restaurateur of the Year to Mr. Horace Pfeiffer from Mittendorf. So we kind of ran the gamut when it comes to tourism for awards, and it's always one of my favorite nights of the year to be able to celebrate all those people who help make Louisiana's tourism scene special.
We'll get back to Jill and Baton Rouge in just a little bit, but I can't help but notice you mentioned Monroe, West Monroe. Chris, I'm finding, I don't know if I'm just like late to the party here or what, and we had Monroe's mayor on Friday Ellis. We had Monroe's mayor on yesterday. Is Monroe on like a serious upswing right now?
Brian, you know what we got to do that you would appreciate? On Monday, I got a sneak peek of Representative Eccles' new hotel, the Hotel Monroe. And when I tell you that I think that this is going to be, when it's all said and done, I think it opens May 4th, one of the nicest properties in our state. I mean it. I mean, he is really sparing no expense. The hotel's on the river there. All of your views overlook the river. He's got an amazing bar. He brought in a chef from Vegas that's going to kind of anchor his restaurant.
Their meeting space is unbelievable. His asset up there is incredible. And I was really excited to take a tour of it. And I'm excited for him to get that open, just to be able to see, so other people can see how awesome it's going to be.
Just in time for Mark Zuckerberg to start making reservations.
That's right. But you know what? And we were at the lobby luncheon this week. I wasn't able to be there very long because of my meeting, but I was able to go to the luncheon, and Will does a great job with that. But and that's from being on the hotel side. When you see those types of economic development opportunities come along, it benefits the hotels and the hospitality community so much. And people don't think about that. When they start construction on that thing up there, all the hotels there are going to be full. All the restaurants along whatever route you're going to take to get to there are going to benefit. There's a little donut shop in Rayville. I can imagine that's going to be right there on the way, that they're going to sell a lot of donuts in the morning once construction really starts taking off there.
We get Chris Landry from the Louisiana Travel Association for just a couple more minutes. I do want to bring it back to Baton Rouge, talk Joe Kidder, talk Visit Baton Rouge for just a quick second, because we're about a week away from bowlers, about 60,000 of them over the course of the next 5 months. We know what kind of impact that has in Baton Rouge, as we're seeing uptick in hotel room nights, overnight stays, and restaurants, and all the other tourism things. It's going to be an uptick, but we're never be like, it's not going to sell us out for any one weekend. It's going to be over the course of 5 months. How much does business like that kick its way back up to LTA to say, these are the kind of things we go after?
I think, and I love seeing sports shine, right? And when I started in this industry, it was on the sports side in Lake Charles. And so anytime we can see, and I'm kind of, geeking out here over the last month with the Super Bowl and now the bowlers. But I think that anytime you can bring, all these different sports tournaments to town, I think that really kind of shows off Louisiana, and coming in a town like Baton Rouge, where, you're really transforming the bottom of the river center there and bringing these people in. I mean, all the pizza shops downtown and stuff like that, everyone benefits from it. And for such a long time, everyone, we've talked about me being a travel ball dad for a while, but it's great to see some sports like bowling and swimming and, we up in Monroe, they've got the table tennis U.S. trial. So it's great to see some of these other sports starting to come up too.
Got just a minute or two left with Chris Landry from the Louisiana Travel Association. What's on your calendar? What are the Mardi Gras aside? What is LTA looking forward to over the next month or two?
Man, when you after Mardi Gras, if you take a look at the Louisiana Fairs and Festivals calendar, it is completely overwhelming. When you see, just in the month of March, you're going to have the Scott Boudin Festival. You're going to have the Strawberry Festival, the French Quarter Festival, the Rabbit Festival in Iowa. Once Mardi Gras, once we turn the page on that, it's fairs and festival season, and I feel like that's one of my favorite times in Louisiana. Everybody comes together to celebrate something. We just recently gave Festival of the Year to the Peach Festival up in Ruston and the Mama Walker Festival in Homa. So festival's got a week on. So these guys, are you familiar with the Red Dress Run in New Orleans?
Yeah.
All right. So these guys in Homa, the Hatchie Grant Association started this event. It's called the Mama Walker. And basically you dress up like a Cajun grandma and they take over the streets of downtown Homa, and it's basically like a pub crawl. And it ends with a concert. And I had never heard of it until they were nominated for this award. So I did my research, and now I almost have to go to the Mama Walker in October in Homa.
October in Homa.
Yep.
See, this is my producers from Homa. These are his people.
That's right.
All right.
And they brought their award. They brought like 15 people up to Monroe to accept this award. It was really fun to give that to them.
All dressed like the grandmother from National Lampoon's Vacation, I assume.
There you go.
Oh man, he is Chris Landry. Always appreciate the time, man. Thank you for stopping by for an update.
All right, thanks, Brian.
Always. We'll talk to you soon. Coming up on 749 at Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Do you have your lunch plans yet? If not, PF Chang's. Make a note of it right now. PF Chang's. You know where to find them. They're off Corporate Boulevard in Town Center. And to get even more specific, look for the giant golden horse. The Lunar New Year is upon us. If you're spending $40 or more at PF Chang's, you're going to get free shrimp or pork dumplings. Now, it's not $40 at the bar tab. We're talking about the meal here. So if you and a friend are going out to lunch, this is what you got here. The Lunar New Year is upon us, and they are celebrating at PF Chang's now through April 1st with the free pork or free shrimp dumplings. Guys, I'm a Mongolian beef guy. My wife likes the Asian chicken wraps. I know I repeat that every daggum day, and I probably should start telling you about other things on the menu because I've yet to find anything I don't like. The spicy chicken is fire. Oh, speaking of fire, the shrimp on the appetizer menu also fire. You can't go wrong. And when you add in the ambiance, and when you add in the level of service that you're going to get, and when you add in the fact that this isn't like takeout Chinese, you don't walk away feeling like, it's just in your gut. No, it's a little bit lighter, a little bit healthier, better ingredients, fresher ingredients. And like I said, add in the ambiance and service, and you cannot go wrong over at PF Chang's. Go ahead, stop by for lunch today. So you know about this?
Yes, of course. They do it right there on Main Street in Homa.
How many people?
It's a lot. It may as well be a parade.
Jesus. All right.
It's ridiculous.
Rowdy Gaudet is going to be featured today.
For sure.
Good Lord. Oh, I need new. I'm gonna get something different. I'm gonna get PF Chang's for lunch today and get something different. It was good to take out.
Yeah.
I don't have time to go over there because I like to enjoy myself when I go there.
Right.
Sit down, breathe for a minute.
Yeah.
Maybe a cocktail.
Take it all in.
A little bit girlier of a cocktail than I would admit to get. Give me something pink.
Yeah. Something fruity.
Yeah. I want to use the term creme de cacao.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh man. Crap. You have a headline for Rowdy yet or no?
Funding discussion, it's not the library versus the city. I'm so cold still. I'm so cold. By the way, shout out again to Rowdy for the matching sweaters. That was different. It was close. It wasn't an exact match. It was close.
Oh yeah.
We got the memo on the sweater with the collar underneath, and his was a little bit lighter than mine.
Yeah.
If I had rolled with my Haspel today, we would have been an exact match.
That's fun.
What's going on Facebook?
Oh no, I haven't been there in a while.
That's what the Workforce Commission is for, as well as the Unemployment Office. They offer those services. Redundancy. That's why I asked the question, George. And I think we're going to find that as we move through it. What you're going to be told is that people can't get to the office for the Workforce Commission or for the, which is, you got to have it at the library, so it could be at all the individual branches. It's the same as you've got to have absentee voting for everybody, so because people can't go to the polls. Galen says, I would not describe the history of VBR citizens supported police and infrastructure as poorly supported. The support's always been there, but the infrastructure projects have poor ROI, and crime is a much more complicated problem. Well, yeah, part of that is you want to see crime extend, close the libraries on the weekends. You want to take away a kid's outlet to do something on the positive side, shut it down and let them only see the negative side. And I'm not saying that the libraries are going to save souls over here. I'm just saying that if you shut down that outlet, you can expect that as a recourse. Job reentry program, really? What is the library doing for job reentry other than perhaps spending some money? Let's see some success metrics. See, that's the fun part about all this is we can ask for this. We can ask those, like Galen's asking the right question. Let's see some success metrics. That's all I want. That's all I want to see. ROI, baby. Morning, Haggai. Glad to see you're back.
Haggai.
I know. $7:55. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. Been a busy hour, and we're not stopping just yet. But before we continue, got to remind you about the folks over at Landmark Bank, landmarkbankla.com. That's the website. That's the home base website, landmarkbankla.com. You're going to find them in the surrounding area around Baton Rouge, in the quote-unquote bedroom communities, the burbs, as it were. And the reason for this is Landmark Bank is the quintessential local bank. You don't just want a bank, you want a banker. You don't want to get lost in the wash of the big buildings downtown. You want to walk through that front door and shake hands with the person you're going to do business with. Don't just have a bank, have a banker. If you're in Zachary, they got 2 locations. If you're in Greensburg, if you're in Clinton, if you're in Denham, if you're in Bruley. In fact, I don't want to list out all the locations. Let me send you to landmarkbankla.com. You can find the list of locations there. And oh, by the way, while you're there, read up a little bit on their services, because while you're going to have a smaller, more local, more personal bank, you are not going to lack or want for services at all. Whether you're talking about your personal finances or your business, they've got you covered. Landmarkbankla.com. I wanted to talk about the NHL story that you were hearing in news and we touched on yesterday. But John, Chris mentioned the Mama Walkers.
Yes.
These are your people.
These, I'll claim them. Yeah.
Okay.
My people from down in Homa. Yeah.
And they just dress up like
Mama's
family,
man. Yeah, pretty much.
And they put like the tennis balls
grown
on the
grown men dressing up like
muumuus.
Grandmas. Yeah, man.
Wearing
the whole
muumuus?
thing.
Like
I'm gonna have to show you a video.
Hairnet.
I have to show you some videos. It's pretty extravagant.
Okay.
And it draws a crowd. I was telling you that during break. It may as well be a parade down there.
I'm not hating on it.
I know, but it's insane.
I'm
right?
not hating on it. Like
I've never, but yeah.
Like okay, so we have, and this is not apples to apples,
right?
But coming up in the South Downs Parade, which I believe is next weekend, great neighborhood parade, fantastic neighborhood parade.
Yeah.
But they got a group of people that push lawnmowers in the parade. They're so synchronized. They do this synchronized choreography through it.
Oh, well, that's
and if I'm telling you about it, it sounds dumb. But if you see it, it's like, oh, that's actually
impressive.
Pretty cool.
It sounds impressive.
It's like if the 6'10" Stompers could cut grass.
But is it just dads in like New Balance sneakers or what? Like what are we talking
You know
about?
what? If the South Downs Parade has one drawback, it's super dark.
Oh.
Like because you're going through a subdivision. You don't have all the lighting you need.
Oh.
So I can't attest to the New Balance. What I can attest to is like all the glow sticks on the lawnmowers. So when you see them
really
moving,
cool.
weaving back and forth throughout, doing all the choreography, it's a pretty cool thing.
I like that.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it.
Everybody's got their own little quirks.
Right.
And it's easy to poo-poo on them, but it's also easy to enjoy it and say, let's give this a look.
Yeah.
Let's give it, what do we got?
Make it interesting.
I'm in.
Right?
What are we doing?
Yeah. I like that.
NHL in New Orleans. I mean, is this going to be a thing? Kevin Weeks, NHL Network analyst, says an ownership group had a productive meeting with Deputy NHL Commissioner Bill Daly. Weeks says while the identity of the ownership group is currently unknown, they are hockey people from top to bottom.
They have experience with the game. A couple of the principals that are involved in terms of investors, their kids play hockey. They've been longtime hockey fans themselves.
But are they from there? Your kids can play hockey all day long if you live in Detroit. Now, New Orleans, when you heard about it at first, it said, "Oh, we're going to expansion franchise to New Orleans." New Orleans is just one of a number of cities that were thrown out there. Houston, Atlanta, Quebec City, Phoenix, and Phoenix just had a team that they just lost. So New Orleans is in the mix with other cities. Week says the fact that ownership, the fact that they met with the brass is a pretty big deal. And you know what? We're still early in this story, so I'm not going to dismiss it just yet. But I'm nowhere close to saying, "Oh, let's do it." Here comes news.
Do I know Gerald Dishman? Look, it depends on who's asking. The only Dishman I know, was he a coach at Terrebonne High? Gerald Dishman, you know, I want to say. Yeah, Coach Dishman was, I think he was a volleyball coach. If that's who she's even talking about. I googled his name. Apparently, he, I guess he owns Academy of Dance in Houma. I don't know. Oh yeah, that's what she said. He owns a dance studio. No, I don't know him, but the way he looks, it looks like we could be related. Which we probably are. That's taking a long time. Why is that?
You get to fire off the next.
That's not.
Wait, no, we got a whole other minute.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Why is it not? It's just.
Are they still on?
Just went silent.
Okay, well, don't let the silences go.
Okay, you want me to go to Bloomberg?
Yeah, fire it off.
Okay. About 30 seconds early, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all. He's a great guy. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. But yeah, I just don't know. I don't know.
My feet are cold. I hate that.
Oh, that's the worst, man. When the toes get cold. See, I put on the jacket, but I feel like the jacket's loud. You know what I mean? When you move, it just ruffles and it just sounds. I don't know.
You know who should be the next James Bond?
Hmm?
You know who should be the next James Bond? Balin Rogers.
Oh, my man. Balin Rogers. I know they were talking about Idris Elba was a possible candidate for James Bond. I could see how that would work.
I can't.
Really?
It's not it's a rare day where I'll say that character's supposed to be white, but that character's supposed to be white. That makes me racist. I apologize.
Oh man. What about John Krasinski? Seems like an odd choice, but
we're coming in right now. What you got?
Oh, what's going on? I don't know, in about 10 minutes or so.
Yeah, a little less than that.
Yeah.
I'll come down. Bro. I had a line this morning that was worth repeating.
It was good.
Who's gonna be the next James Bond? Mitch McConnell, because his social security number is 007.
I'm good. See ya.
Oh, Jesus. Get your butt back down the hallway. Condon. 806 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Hour 3 coming your way right now. News heavy hour this hour as executions are back on the table in Louisiana. We're going to talk about that. Man, Attorney General Liz Murrell was on with Moon Griffon yesterday. Talk about that and a couple of other things. And we'll get her lined up for next week. But we'll talk about that topic in our next segment. Also, in our next segment, we're going to talk about workforce issues on the child care front. You heard that story in news. We'll bring that back around. And then at 8:35 this morning, no Foodie Friday today. No Foodie Friday today. We are going to dig into the film business in Louisiana. More to the point, recognizing those who have done it and done it well, like done it really well. Why don't we have a film hall of fame, a movie and TV hall of fame in Louisiana? And why not just put one downtown Baton Rouge? Why not put it right on the riverfront? Why not make it right next door to an overall or part of an overall entertainment hall of fame where you get musicians involved now? And now, why not say this could be a really big tourist draw? And if you don't believe me, look up to Natchitoches and see the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame. We'll talk with Patrick Mulhearn at 8:35 about what it would take to bring that to fruition. Now that Plan BR3 is up and running and the face of downtown is going to be a big topic of conversation, let's advance the story, as we say in the business. Let's push the conversation forward. That's coming up later on this hour. Right now, though, this day in history. Hang on. Shout out to the former head of Visit Baton Rouge, Paul Arrigo, who, while I'm talking about a film hall of fame, says, why not a culinary hall of fame? Ooh. Do we not have that?
We should.
Do we not have that?
We should.
I mean, if we don't.
I mean,
the only reason I wouldn't want it is someone's going to want to put Justin Wilson in it. And that's where I pack up and go home.
Yeah. See, it'll start controversy.
He's as much Cajun as I am a woman.
Oof. Wow.
Yeah.
Man. See,
Harsh?
that's why there's not one.
Harsh?
We don't need anything to further divide us, Brian.
Somewhere.
We don't need anything else to
somewhere there's
divide.
a relative of Justin Wilson cursing my name. I don't know Justin Wilson. All right.
Hey, starting off 1947.
Why not?
The first instant developing camera used by Mitch McConnell, the Land camera model 95.
Great callback, by the way.
By Edwin Land in NYC.
Mitch McConnell took a picture of his 50th birthday.
Yeah. Oh, man. 1965 here. Civil rights activist and Muslim minister Malcolm X shot dead today. Wow. Hey, in 1970, the Jackson 5 make their TV debut on American Bandstand.
Okay.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Go. 1972, Richard Nixon becomes the first U.S. president to visit China, normalizing relationships between the two countries in a meeting with Chinese leader. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. Mao Zedong.
Yeah, Mao Zedong.
In Beijing. Look at that. You know. Let's see. Ooh, talking about live radio. 1981, Charles Rocket clearly drops an F-bomb on Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
I guess that's the early stages. What did they launch in 75?
Yeah.
So what's that's about? Probably a bigger deal then than what it would be now. It's probably
very much so, because I think 4 or 5 other people have done that since then.
Yeah. But I think that was the big one. Hey, speaking of live TV,
who was the actress from Twilight?
Kristen Stewart.
Yeah, I think she did it.
Oh, she did.
Yeah,
Okay.
pretty sure.
Wow. Speaking of TV, though, 2003, Bill Maher's political show, Real Time with Bill Maher, debuts on HBO.
Real Time with Bill Maher only became a thing because his other political show,
Politically,
it got canceled. It was canceled for him saying something politically incorrect.
The irony, right?
And the show was called Politically Incorrect.
Right. 2019, the Lunar Library, get this, a 30 million page digital library launched on board Israel's Bereshit lunar lander, aiming to be stored on the moon. So I guess, hey, if anyone's up there, here's some information you might be able to use.
Building a library on the moon.
Right.
Still going to have more people go than the one downtown.
Oh.
See, this is why.
How long before it gets taxed? Hey, 2023, U.S. President Joe Biden vows unwavering support for Ukraine in a speech from Warsaw Castle, Poland, a day after he made a surprise trip to Ukraine.
Okay.
So
there you go.
Anything else on this day?
Nope.
Hey, birthdays. I got at the top of my list here. Alan Rickman. Actor
Alan Rickman.
Yeah. Jordan Peele as well.
Okay.
Let's see. Kelsey Grammer as well today.
Fraser Crane born today.
Yeah. Who else you got? You got anybody else on your end?
I got longtime Detroit Tiger Alan Trammell. It's his birthday.
Okay.
Yeah. And no, I think that was all I had. It was a light day over here.
Yeah. Let's see. Moving on to deaths, of course, as I mentioned, Malcolm X, Billy Graham today as well.
Okay.
Let's see who else we got. No, I saw one more at least. Oh man. I don't know. Maybe not.
Well, no. As far you're talking deaths,
yeah,
we got Jethro Tull.
Really
died on this day in 1740. With the actual Jethro Tull died on this day in 1741.
Not the musician.
No. And you mentioned Malcolm X. Did you mention you did mention Billy Graham? Yep, that's what we got.
All right. As far as national days go, here's a little sweet one right here. No one eats alone day.
No one
Speaking of
eats
Foodie
alone.
Friday, no one eats alone.
Well,
you know?
there's no Foodie Friday, so nobody eats.
No
nobody
one
eats. If nobody eats, nobody eats alone. You can't eat alone if you don't eat at all.
Oh man. So there's that. Any other language day today? Celebrate language.
Okay, that's fine. That's all we got.
I mean, we can. I mean, there's days, Brian.
I mean, give me.
There's National Caregivers Day.
Yeah,
it's another sweet one, right? What do we have?
National Caregivers Day is kind of worthwhile. That's a lot more worthwhile than most of the garbage we have.
Card Reading Day. It's better than Sticky Bun Day, or is it though?
Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah. Birth anniversary of His Majesty the King.
Why not? All right. That's your look at this day in history, which is, of course, brought to you by the folks over at 5 Star Printing and Signs. 271-4096 is their phone number. Who needs 5 Star Printing and Signs? Everybody who has a business card, everybody who has a business that has a brochure, everybody that has a business that has an invoice, anything you put your business's name on, hit up Danny and his team at 5 Star Printing and Signs. You need a couple of different things here. You need, number one, accuracy. You want to make sure that everything is on point. If you let some random internet company handle your printing, you have no recourse when something screws up, and inevitably something will screw up. With Danny and his team, number one, you're going to get their eyes on it as well as yours, reducing your risk of human error. And then on top of that, if something does screw up, you say, hey, Danny, let's fix this. And then they go from there. Oh, by the way, and I can't emphasize this enough, Branding and merchandise is more important now than ever. Putting your business's logo on, let's say, a tumbler, a thermal mug. Putting your business's logo on one of them squishy stress balls. Putting your business's logo on a ski hat, whatever. Visit printshop5.com. Scroll through what they got to offer over there because they got everything. Putting your business's logo, your branding on merch. Put your business's name out there in front of everybody who carries said merch. Check them out online at printshop5.com. If you want to go swing by, if you're in Denham Springs, they moved. They're right next door to Big Mike's. So easy to find. It's printshop5.com and 5-Star Printing and Signs.
The Big Mike's yesterday for lunch.
Deborah says mic drop on the Moon Library reference.
Huh.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. That's who that was. Yeah.
Louis Armstrong over here.
I don't know about that.
Come on, man. It's definitely got colder in here.
Yeah. $8:17, Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP, mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. We're going to talk film and entertainment and the possibility of a Hall of Fame. I know I've had this discussion before with Patrick Mulhearn, but I want to advance the discussion. And the reason for it is earlier this week, the Baton Rouge Area Foundation and a number of other stakeholders announced Plan Baton Rouge 3. The third reinvention of how do we reinvent and recreate the face of downtown Baton Rouge. The third iteration of advancement of the city, because this isn't just about downtown. When you take into account, like, okay, how do we improve that Nicholson Drive corridor? How do we take the north side of downtown and extend it out to where it's a bridge to economic development for points beyond? The Memorial Stadium into this. Well, in between Memorial Stadium and a potential new arena over by LSU's campus, you've got the face of downtown and you've got the riverfront, and you've got a riverfront that, quite honestly, if you're completely honest with yourself in Baton Rouge, our riverfront is an embarrassment. It needs to be so much more than what it is. And right now, it's completely, there's literally nothing. There's the USS Kidd Museum and the Arts and Science Museum. The Kid's not here right now. The casino boats have moved on the land. Our riverfront's naked. What do you do there? Well, Patrick's got ideas. We'll talk about that in our next segment. Right now, though, actually, before we hit on our next topic, I know it's cold out today, y'all, and I know it's tough to think about doing spring cleaning when you're not above freezing. But when that sun comes out and you're looking at your house or you're looking at the sign of your business, man, it's just about time. If you see any green build up or any dirt built up on the side of your house, think about Cajun Soft Wash and CajunSoftWash.com. Like they've got the proprietary chemical mix to address your home safely. But they handle both residential and commercial. So your house or your business. Anytime I talk about your home, this applies to your business as well. It's safe, it's effective, it's super duper clean. CajunSoftWash.com is the website. Go learn about some of their services. Whether you're talking about commercial property cleaning, commercial brick cleaning, stucco cleaning. They can handle your parking lot as well. And my personal favorite, the drone cleaning. There is no unreachable spot anymore. And when you've got that mold and mildew and algae and buildup on your shingles, it's actually eating away at your shingles and reducing the life of your roof. You want to extend the life of your roof? Like, as a guy who just got a new roof, I want to make sure I keep my roof for as long as it's humanly possible. Drone cleaning available at CajunSoftWash.com, along with the other myriad of services that they offer. Couple of news stories to hit on in this segment. And I want to start with the execution story. After a 15-year pause, executions in Louisiana are scheduled to start up again next month. Among the first slated to be executed is Jesse Hoffman. He raped and killed Molly Elliott execution style back in 1996. Colin Sims, the district attorney for Washington and St. Tammany parishes, requested the death warrant for Hoffman.
Not whether I like or dislike, I believe that it has a place in our system and should be reserved for the most serious and heinous offenders.
And that's what we're looking at here, is the most serious and heinous of offenders. Sims says seeking the death penalty and carrying one out are not moves that he takes lightly.
There have been cases that I've looked at where I didn't feel that penalty was appropriate. The Hoffman case is one where I feel that it is.
Attorney General Liz Murrell was on with Moon Griffon yesterday, and she makes such a solid argument in that it's not about your feelings on the death penalty, because the death penalty is the law. If you want to change the law, change the law. But if you have the law, you have to adhere to the law. Which means if the death penalty is the law of the land, you carry them out. Now, Sims says, while the execution of a death row inmate might bring justice and closure, anybody who's standing up applauding the fact that the death penalty is back in effect, check yourself real quick.
There is a loser on all sides of this. There's a defendant's family. There's a victim's family. Someone's lost someone on all sides of the spectrum, and it's horrible.
It's hard to make the case that you want to stand up for that person, and nobody does. But at the very least, have the decorum to not, just for once, you don't have to dunk on the other side. How much are we seeing it right now with Doge? And I know I'm going from death penalty to Doge, and this is a horrible transition, but there's a comp here, so follow me. Elon Musk, and this is where I lose touch with my own party on times like this. Elon Musk stood up at a rally the other day with a chainsaw, calling it the chainsaw of bureaucracy. Jobs are being slashed left and right. Money is hopefully being returned to the bottom line for our nation's budget, maybe to pay down debt, maybe to, I keep hearing about cutting people $8,000 checks. Whatever we're doing with the money, that's fine. It's a much-needed audit and a much-needed streamlining of efficiency. But every job that gets cut, no matter how wasteful that job was to have in the first place, every job that gets cut is a family that doesn't have dinner on the table, or is going to have to seek other means to find dinner to put on the table. Every job that gets cut, as necessary as it is to cut them, and I'm 100% on board on that front, but every job that gets cut is a family that's going to have it a little bit harder. I don't care if your job was counting the number of toothpicks that are at the lunch counter. Yeah, we need that guy? No, we don't need that guy. Yeah, Yeah, get rid of him. And then he's got to go home and figure out how to feed his family. No matter how useless that job was, that's going to be a family that's struggling. A hair of decorum would be nice right about now. I know I crossed over from the death penalty topic to this one, and I need to go back to the death penalty topic, but it's something that's very prevalent in our society today, is to knock someone down and then kick them while they're there. Something that's getting lost in the discussion about Doge and about where we are as a society. Something that's getting lost in the discussion is the of the people, by the people, and for the people. And regardless of how monolithic our federal government is and how much they just suck and drain from our lives every day, it's the people that are a part of it, the of the people that are a part of it, that we can't lose touch with. Because when you do that, you lose touch with your own humanity, which is completely the opposite of what our forefathers wanted. Completely the opposite of what the founders of our nation wanted. Of the people, by the people, and for the people was supposed to mean we raise each other up, not dance on each other while they're down. But getting back to the death penalty case or the topic, Liz Merle was on with Moon Griffon yesterday. When she is on fire, she is on fire. She was absolutely on fire for this. All right. The cases are starting to pop up. And after 15 years on the shelf, you have to ask yourself, where have all the Innocence Projects been during that time? Where have all the headlines been? Where have all the press releases been saying, hey, let's find redemption for this person 14 years ago until now? Like, why did we see so much the can get kicked down the street to where we are today? And now, when the law is back in place and the resources are there to enforce the law, now we want to hold those accountable who enforce the law, or hold those in judgment who enforce the law? No, you missed that opportunity a long time ago. We've got the one case. We're going to see a second one in short order, and then I'm guessing once we see the return to the legal process that is in place, if you've got 15 years worth of backlog here, it's going to feel like they're just churning people through. But one of the things we have to remember is 15 years worth of not fulfilling this that's going on. Coming up on 828 at Talk 107.3 FM, that was one topic we were going to cover in this segment. The other talks about the workforce, and it goes back to a story that our news partners at Louisiana Radio Network had. The 2024 Louisiana Child Care Parent Poll shows parents are struggling with cost and availability to child care. Madeline Batson, Director of Policy and Research at the Policy Institute for Children, highlights the struggles parents face balancing work and child care access as well as affordability. Did you not? Oh, I'm sorry. I asked you earlier to add 13, 14, and 15 in this segment. I did. This is the proverbial being stuck between a rock and a hard place for a lot of parents out there. And we've been having this discussion, not so much on the child care front, but the early education front. And one of the tough parts about selling Louisiana on early education is that you're saying this isn't just daycare. Kids are being educated. But two things can be true at the same time. And one of those things is, while a child is being educated from an early end, there's the daycare aspect of this that's involved. Now, whether you're talking about more of a school setting or just a daycare setting, the survey found that over half of parents worry about affording childcare. Costs can run upwards of $600 plus per child per month, which is ridiculous. Batson says for those without subsidies, expenses rise to nearly $1,200 monthly.
For a family having two kids under 5 and they have to flip the entire bill of childcare, that's $28,000 a year.
That's expensive. I'm trying to think back in my mind to when before mine were in school. I don't think we were running that kind of number there. And I don't know if those costs have gotten exacerbated recently, like a post-COVID thing. But man, if you're running $633 a month, if you're running $1,200 a month, and imagine if you got multiples, you really have to sit down and take a look at your family budget and say, is it worth working? Worth working at all? By the way, one more from Batson. Emphasize the need for investment, warning that without action, families will face financial strain. Louisiana's workforce will suffer as a result of that.
The reality is that what we found in our survey of over 3,400 respondents is that the majority of them do have to work, and the majority of our kids are spending time in center-based early learning centers.
If we can expand the supply into this, not just from a physical standpoint of daycares, but the qualified people to run them, we can help balance this equation. All right, quick break for news. We're talking film and entertainment next.
You did, because I had a slash here. Why didn't I? Did we? I don't know. Something else came up, but yeah. Sorry about that.
It's okay. I didn't really want to get to it. What I wanted to do was find that Elon Musk cut, and ABC News got rid of it.
Oh.
Oh. Oh. Dadgummit. I'm done.
Patrick will be calling in.
He's supposed to be here.
Oh.
Let me see what Condon wanted. Hopefully it was him. Oh, he's gonna call in.
Oh, okay.
There he is.
Studio. Hi, good morning, sir. Yeah, we'll have you up here in just about 2 or 3 minutes. All right. Thank you, sir.
All right. Gonna get up to 50 degrees today as the sun makes its way back out and the temperatures rise above freezing. Your high today is 50. Overnight low tonight is 38. If I'm scrolling through to see the hour by hour, first pitch for LSU baseball is scheduled for 4 p.m. against Omaha in the box. We're looking at 48 degrees at 4 p.m. So if you're going out to see a little LSU baseball this afternoon into this evening, expect it to be in the upper to mid 40s. That walk back to the car might get a little more brisk. Tomorrow, we got a chance of rain tomorrow, but it's not until late tomorrow. Your high tomorrow, 55. Overnight low Saturday and Sunday is 42. But when you're looking at there's a 75% chance of rain, but it's going to be the overnight hours into Sunday. Sunday's high is 51, and you've got a 100% chance of rain on Sunday. But if you're looking at it, it looks like it hangs around basically all Sunday long. And then it's actually going to warm up. Monday's high is 69, Tuesdays is 73, Wednesdays is 76, and I don't care to look beyond that. Right now it's sunny and 30 degrees in downtown Baton Rouge. $8:39 or $8:38, excuse me. Talk 107.3 FM, WBRP. Mornings with Brian Haldane, rolling right along. So it was announced on Wednesday that Sasaki has been selected as the Planned Baton Rouge 3 consultant. They've worked on a number of projects in Baton Rouge before. They are not unfamiliar with us and who we are. And within the press release that came from the Baton Rouge Area Foundation, it says the planning process will take place over as many as 12 months and will feature ample opportunities for members of the community to provide their feedback. Basically, they're looking for ideas for what should be the face of downtown Baton Rouge and connectors to the surrounding area. Well, joining us now with an unbelievably great idea, and sometimes he hits on these, it's Patrick Mulhearn. Patrick, welcome back. How are you, man?
Hey, Brian, good morning. Yeah, we got an idea, don't we?
Yes, we do, and I want to figure out how to run with this one. Wait, before we get started, when I was talking about it, when I was teasing the segment a little while ago, Paul Arrigo, who used to head up Visit Baton Rouge, says we don't have a culinary Hall of Fame either.
You know, that seems like a crime in Louisiana,
doesn't it though?
Okay, somebody needs to make that happen.
Well, you know what? We got room on the riverfront for a whole lot, so we just have a whole row of halls of fame.
I like it.
Film and Entertainment Hall of Fame. All right, let's talk about. Let's start with what it would look like before we get to the who would be in it. What would this look like in your mind? What you're envisioning would look like what and where?
Well, you know, look, I love the old plan that they had where they actually had an overhang over the river for that Alive project.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking, 10, 15 years ago, whatever. I mean, I think some large space is going to be needed. And I think that was a Hall of Fame. I mean, think about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Have you ever been there in Cleveland? Do you know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about. I have not been. I've seen pictures.
I mean, I think you need a lot of space for it. So again, I'm not an architect or a city planner or whatever, but something like that seems like it would make sense. But what is it exactly? Well, obviously, it's a museum. right? I mean, again, we're not hanging on to a lot of these artifacts that are coming from the films that shoot here. I mean, we're talking just in the modern era, since we've had the tax incentive, you're talking over 1,200 productions, right?
Right.
And look, we've had, what was it, 6 that got nominated for Best Picture in a span of 6 years, and then we just had, Nickel Boys that shot in Louisiana was nominated for Best Picture. It will be up for the Academy Awards in March, right? So, I mean, again, those are significant to just the industry in general.
Yeah.
And we're not hanging on to costumes or, props, and we certainly could be. And some of those things are still out there. They're just in warehouses in Los Angeles. And before, something happens to them, we should bring them back to Louisiana. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. So I think that, it is a museum, but I think it needs to be a performance venue. I think that, again, we have such amazing acts that could be there all the time. And then, why not have theaters? We have the Manship Theater downtown, which is fantastic, but we need more. If we're really going to do things like film festivals and all that, why not have a screen that is showing films that shot in Louisiana all day long? As a tourist or whatever, you come in and watch something.
Well, okay, this was one of those aspects that I thought I was going to add to the conversation, but you're already on this one. Is have a movie theater built into it that would be showing Louisiana-made movies, kind of like how some places have those vintage theaters. This would be the same thing, but just stuff that was made here.
Absolutely. You got programming for kids, Saturday mornings or whatever. I mean, there's just so much you could do because there's been so many films and TV shows that are shot here, right?
Yes.
And obviously, I think it would be good for up and coming filmmakers, for the independents that are just looking to exhibit their work. That's how we get the next Steven Soderbergh or Tyler Perry or whoever. Talk about guys that are from here that we've lost. But I mean, why not? I think we all know that people love films, people love just history, and there's no place to showcase that. And I really feel like it would be a draw, maybe even like an anchor for an entertainment district.
So as an anchor for an entertainment district, you mentioned Audubon Alive. Audubon Alive is actually on the levee front or across the levee. I mean, it's full on riverfront. Are you thinking downtown or are you thinking full on river?
I mean, I'm thinking river downtown.
Yes.
I don't know. I mean, that's the plan that I remember. I mean, gosh, we're talking, that was over a decade ago.
Well over a decade ago, yes.
Yeah, since our last project. So, I'm not sure what plans they have for it. Have you heard? Is that something that they're talking about, doing it over the river again, or I just don't know.
So everybody I've heard who's mentioned Audubon Alive has done so with a little bit of trepidation. I don't think they fully embraced the discussion yet.
Gotcha.
It's been mentioned a couple of times, but it kind of mentioned in passing, remember Audubon Alive? Not a full on, let's go back and do this Audubon Alive. So it's been slow going, but remembering back to the plans that were there, and it wasn't, if we're being fully honest, it could have been done a whole lot better. But what your idea here is, I think would attract people. I think it would bring people, not just downtown from around Baton Rouge, but attract people from around the state. And the reason I think so, Patrick, is because it is proven to be effective up in Natchitoches, Louisiana, for the Louisiana Sports Hall of Fame.
No question. They're anchors is what they are, right? And so if you're going to have an entertainment district, which I think is still on the table, then why not have the Entertainment Hall of Fame and Museum and Performance Venue? That's your anchor for an entertainment district, right? And I just, I think that there are very few people who tell you that's a bad idea, right? Now, you will hear people from New Orleans saying it should be down there, right?
Okay.
And then there's somebody who has a thing that showcases a bunch of posters of films that have shot in Louisiana and Shreveport, and they're saying, well, that's really a Hall of Fame. Not really.
Not really. It's part of the museum end, a small part of the museum end, but it's what can be done so much bigger and so much more. But what you're talking about, Patrick, on the levee side, I'm guessing you're talking. Would you be thinking closer to where the USS Kid's going to come back home again, or the other end closer to the Queen?
I thought the original Audubon Alive was down closer to the Queen.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just feel like you need a lot of space because I think that you want
do.
to have like plenty of outdoor room for families to walk around and do things, and maybe people are performing outside. Maybe there's an amphitheater. I don't know, man. but I'm not an architect or a city planner. But like, I mean, just the vision of like taking a lot of what you had with Audubon Alive and rather, focusing on zoo and aquarium type stuff, which maybe there's still room for that. Having a real entertainment district that, for entertaining. I just look, the River Center's great, but we need more places for concerts.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And we have, we have the stage where Live After 5 is, which is awesome and everything, but it's not a true like amphitheater venue.
Right. I mean, look, people say our greatest natural resource in this state is our talent. And I think they're right, between all the people who've made it big over the years, the singers and all that. But it's like, okay, we need a place to really showcase that and to highlight that, celebrate it, and, to hang on to it. And I swear that people will come from all around to see that in one place.
Oh, I completely agree. When you incorporate both the museum end and the Hall of Fame end, if you put those together and then have all the accoutrements around it, all the side, I don't want to say like side attractions, but your main draw here is going to be the hall. And
I think
so. Let's pivot the conversation towards how do you make it? If you and I were sitting down right now, and we're sitting down right now to say we're creating a Louisiana Film Hall of Fame, who makes the cut and how? What parameters are we looking at here?
Oh, okay. Well, good. I'm glad you're not asking me how do we get it funded.
Oh, no. We'll get to that part. Not in this conversation. We'll see if anybody else wants to hear this idea before we get to the funding.
Okay, let's start talking about history. I mean, it's funny that the first, real theater in America was in New Orleans, right? I don't know if you know the late 1800s, but
did not know that.
So a little bit of that, Thomas Edison's Vitoscope Hall or whatever, it was in New Orleans off a canal. But that said, the very first Tarzan of the Apes movie shot in Morgan City. I mean, they lost their lead to World War I. Think about that, right? So, but that's how far back, filmmaking goes in Louisiana. But when you start thinking about Long Hot Summer and just, Hush Hush Sweet Charlotte, I mean, there's a lot of just amazing films kept shot in Louisiana over the years. When you get towards the modern era, even before the tax incentives, we think about JFK, shooting in New Orleans and Steel Magnolias. I mean, we have this amazing history, but it really ramped up starting in 2002 when they passed the incentive. And so, I mean, you're talking about, again, films that were nominated for Best Picture. I mean, you're talking about Duck Dynasty even. That's a part of it.
Whoa. Okay, but you're talking two parts here, because you're talking about the films that would be in the Film Hall of Fame. You're talking about the movies that would make the cut for the Hall of Fame, but there's the people as well, the Soderberghs of the world, the Tyler Perrys. That we have actors that are from here. Like, it's just.
I mean, we've got Britney Spears. I mean, the question is like, what's a qualifier?
That's what I'm asking.
Born here?
Born here.
If you're born here, then we're including Reese Witherspoon and a lot of people like that, right? Ellen DeGeneres. I mean, there's a ton of people who are just born here. It feels like you might need just a little bit more than being born here.
Okay, can we put a residency requirement? Like, for example, when Ronnie Rance and his crew look at the evaluations for the Sports Hall of Fame, if you played college ball here or you played over a certain amount of time in pro ball here. So what about a residency requirement like John Goodman would make the cut?
Oh, he would totally make the cut. Yeah, I guess he wasn't born here, but he's certainly been a Louisiana resident for a long time. I would think it would take, I mean, years, and probably, you have to be able to at least talk. So, I mean, again, that's for a committee of like really smart people to figure out.
Can I throw one last idea into the into the mix here before we get out? And that is the interactivity part of this. When you talk about the entertainment district, you think about not just the movies that were filmed in Louisiana and the scenes that you have, but what about something that would be interactive for the user here? Like, for example, running across the backs of alligators from Live and Let Die. Now, obviously not real alligators, to be sure, but something where you participate, something where you go and you take the video footage to post on your own Instagram reel.
I think you just made the committee. I love that idea. And look, yeah, and why not have holograms? You know, I mean, like you could actually watch a performance from Fats Domino, gosh, I mean, there's just Britney Spears, you name it. I mean, like, again, why not have that? Because the technology's there. But yeah, make it fun. Don't make it just for, old people. Make it for kids. I mean, I love that idea. The live and let die.
Just run
I'm gonna recreate that in my backyard right now. That's
right. I mean, I think we can roll with this. And now that the discussions are open, Plaid and Baton Rouge 3 is open. They're off and running. We got to get in touch with the folks over at Sasaki and make this happen.
Anytime. Tell them to give me a call.
Will do. Will do. He is Patrick Mulhearn. We always appreciate the time, man.
Have a great weekend.
You too. We're running a little bit late you know what? We got one more break to take. Before we take that break, got to remind you about the folks over at the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. FlyBTR.com is the website. FlyBTR.com. So if you're mapping out the family vacay for this summer, before you buy your tickets wherever else, give BTR a look. It's in our backyard. It's so much more convenient when you take into account the drive down and the drive back, when you take into account the parking, the TSA, the overall experience, not to mention the fact that you're helping support the Baton Rouge Metro Airport. You're helping support the airport that serves our city. And the best way to grow it is to use it. So check them out online at flybtr.com. By the way, side note, if you've got business in our nation's capital, we do have a daily direct flight from Baton Rouge to Reagan National. Leaves out in the 7 o'clock hour, comes back in I believe the 6 p.m. hour. You can get business done same day. That website is flybtr2dc.com. For everything else, flybtr.com. All right. We got to get him to zero in and focus in on this because we need to bring this thing to fruition. I think the build out would be tough because it would physically have to be over water. Audubon Alive was compact enough. I need to find the original plans for Audubon Alive. I don't know. Piss. Mayor Holden's ambitious plan for a riverfront tourism attraction needed major funding for its $248 million price tag. The plans for Audubon Alive, a nature-themed park with an aquarium and 4D theater, went before voters as a part of $1 billion bond. It failed in November of 2008, and the idea never came up again. Its location, just south of Hollywood Casino, has been floated as a passive park with boardwalks that can withstand the rise and fall of the river. A riverfront Perkins Row. Oh. Yeah. $8:56 Talk 107.3 FM WBRP mornings with Brian Haldane rolling right along. Just about done here. Thanks again to Patrick Mulhearn from Celtic stopping by to talk about the possibility of a film and entertainment hall of fame. I'm 100% on board with moving the idea forward. I'm not sold on the location yet because honestly, I think it needs more space than just that. I think what would be necessary on a spatial front would be a lot greater than like in the level of cost to build it out into the river like that. Because you're going to need a large building, and you're talking like putting I-beams down the river. That's tall, tall to be sure for the ask on that front. What would be a Louisiana Film Hall of Fame opening up to an entertainment district would be so much bigger in scope than what Audubon Alive was. But the point of the matter is, Plan Baton Rouge Phase 3 is in the talking stages right now, in the planning stages right now. So we need to be having conversations like this. It is time to dream, and then you find the good ones and you turn the dreams into plans, and hopefully the plans into fruition. And that's why I love having Patrick on, just to walk down the path. Call it an exercise if you want, but it's how you move forward. All right. I know we got to do the outside in before we get out of here, but I do want to take just a moment to send you over to our Facebook page. Y'all, 1 week from tomorrow is when the bowlers start getting here. Baton Rouge is welcoming close to 60,000 bowlers, probably another 30,000 or so and change for family members of bowlers or friends that roll along with them. They'll be coming to town over the course of the next 5 months. 90,000 tourists over 5 months. There's not going to be one time where, oh my God, all the hotels were jammed. But there is going to be that entire time where hotel, motel revenue, hotel, motel tax is riding higher than it normally would. So we got to have our best foot forward for about 5 months. As folks come into town, they'll stay 4 or 5 nights at a time. Well, they'll bowl for 3 to 4 days at a time. And the hope here is to keep them in town for a couple extra days, do a little sightseeing and whatnot. But it's a big deal. The U.S. Bowling Congress, their Open Championships start on March 1st. I got a chance to visit the River Center yesterday and get that sneak peek tour. The video is up on our Facebook page. Talk 1073's Facebook page. Go check it out there. Give it a look. It is gorgeous. They have tricked out the River Center nicely. All right, time for the outside in. Let's roll. Starting off in West Baton Rouge Parish and starting off in West Baton Rouge Parish, the fire department is looking for recruits as they are facing staff shortages. They coincide with trends that we're seeing nationwide. Right now, they have 9 open positions, starting salary $48K. Keeping it in West Baton Rouge, police have linked a man arrested for his alleged involvement in the murder of a teenager whose body was found in a sugarcane field in Addis to a separate earlier murder. Police say they booked 23-year-old Devontae Johnson with murder and home invasion for charges related to an August of 24 killing at a Chad Drive apartment complex. That is going to do it for the outside in. That's going to do it for the show. Moon Griffon's next. Y'all have a great weekend. All right, I think we're far enough down the path to start storyboarding this thing, or at least put it all up on a wall and start connecting the dots. Oh, a film Hall of Fame. I'm thinking dueling buildings with everything else down the middle. So you'd have the Film Hall of Fame on one side, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the Music Hall of Fame on the other side.
Okay.
And then down the middle is where you would have like an amphitheater, and then whatever interactive event. Or I'm not sold on the amphitheater part of this.
Yeah,
the amphitheater part of this,
the holographs and stuff like that.
The hologram, yes.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Maybe
is it trying to be too much at once?
Yeah. Maybe if it was just a screen, maybe some concert footage or like a montage of just.
I think we need to get
talent throughout
people to do the music one and people to do the film one.
Yeah.
And then get them together to find out how to make the Reese's peanut butter cup.
Mm.
Right?
Yeah.
You got chocolate in my peanut butter. You got peanut butter in my chocolate.
Right.
Well, that was such a horrible ad campaign. Anyway, I digress. It's you got two really, really good ideas. It's merging the ideas and not letting everything become too big to execute. I think if you're talking film, you can get it on the riverfront. If you're talking music, you can get it on the riverfront. If you're talking film plus music, you might need to retreat to the other side of River Road. Now, I wouldn't be opposed to the idea of pull the map back up here. So let's say River Road at, where's that parking lot at? Come on. That's all gravel. It's not a parking lot. Okay. If you're talking River Road in between Main and Laurel, that whole side of on not the river, not the levee side of the River Road, but that whole side, that entire block is all parking lot, not being used basically at all. So if you were to build out on the building end of this, that entire block, and then get 2 stories up and run a pedestrian bridge across the tracks to the other side, and then you've got your outdoor venue. And you connect it back to the other side of the river. And now what you're looking at, what you're looking at here is a completely different face of the riverfront, because that pedestrian bridge, I mean, now you got, oh man, look, there's an above air tunnel
right
above River Road here. Now you got a completely different look, and you don't have to have if you could have, you probably have a big enough building to change, not the skyline of Baton Rouge, but the filling in what's in the middle here. Because I'm guessing that you're talking 3 to 4 stories worth of film and or music memorabilia. I mean, I'm thinking of the Louisiana State Museum right now and what's physically in there.
Right.
This would be bigger.
Oh, yeah, it'd be massive.
So take the Louisiana State Museum. Imagine just moving that into this property, right? It's going to have to go up from there. I have no problem with that. Stay within the confines of the block. We don't have to do that. And then you run the pedestrian walkway physically across River Road, land it on the other side of the railroad tracks so that you're not getting, and then you would build out more of a boardwalk sort of area, which would hopefully connect back to your natural walkway. Right?
Huh.
Now, that's for the film and entertainment thing. Paul's got me thinking about this culinary thing.
Yeah.
Because when it comes to an open air venue, when it comes to something that would be fun to do, imagine if with a culinary museum, what if you had an area, forget food trucks. Food trucks are so 2010, right? What if you had an open air area that had rentable kitchens and let the up and coming restaurateur who doesn't have a restaurant yet go out there and hey, here's your grill, here's your stovetop, all this, and then here's your counter space. And then we have a meeting area in the middle with the picnic tables and all that. It's like a semi-pro food court.
Yeah. That's possible. I mean, would it even be in the same area? Would it be?
I don't
would
know.
It be completely separate.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That would have. I don't know.
But it's the possibility.
I don't
and
know.
like you said, hey, it's what we're here for, right? To dream.
Yes.
To dream. We
Yes.
want to. Yeah. Man, no, that's really cool.
What do y'all think? Am I off my ass here? Tell me. I know I am, but
I mean, that's how ideas start, right? I mean,
yes,
you trim the fat. Let's go as big as we can.
Yes,
and then we'll trim from there. We'll work our way down to what's possible.
100%.
That's it.
I should be on the board. I would be up for that. Patrick said I just got added to the committee. Let's get a committee.
Yeah, like quit playing.
I'm tired
really.
of I'm tired of just talking on the sidelines. Let's effing do this.
Right. Yep.
Patrick is way off with Mulhearns at Kenilworth, and you don't know how far off you are because you don't know the inside of the business from when it happened, the timeline with which it happened, and the decisions that Ernie made along the way. So you're 100% opposite on who's up for extinction here. Roberts is not making money. Roberts is not. It just. And they're strong where they're strong, but that Kenilworth location, nada. All right, guys, y'all have a great weekend. You need to hire me as a sidekick. I get your references. I appreciate that greatly too, because they're all over the damn place. All right, Mitch McConnell is James Bond. That's the winner for today. We'll see. Have a great weekend. We'll see y'all later.